Hey, what's up? This is Kevin from Kevin's Barbecue Joints, and this one is a great one. I'm so excited to sit down with Logan Sandoval from ZEF BBQ in Simi Valley, California, which is northwest of Los Angeles. I'm in Woodland Hills, so it's about 20 minutes from where I am. It's a little pocket where there's really no barbecue, no craft barbecue. There's barbecue spots that have tri-tip and such, but he is filling a void. And just to alert you, there is some swearing. There's a lot of swearing in this one, so I would not have the kids nearby during this one. Logan's super passionate. He's unfiltered. I'm going to keep this really short for this intro because it's about 2 hours long, but it goes by really quick because he's so engaging, so interesting. His menu is insane. He makes everything from scratch. His spam is from scratch. He does Peking duck. He does ramen. He's super intense and passionate. He's a chef. He's been a chef or cooking since he was 15 years old. He's moved around a lot. He worked for Hyatt, so he talks about all the different places that worked for Hyatt and the different chefs he worked for and what he learned and how the pandemic shaped this whole incarnation that he has right now. I know you're going to like it. I don't want to spoil too much of it. And also, too, there is a 5 or 6 minute stretch after about 45 to 50 minutes that's a little not electronic sounding. It's not bad. It goes away, but I just want to let you know there's a couple moments where I think the internet's just kind of weird, but I can't thank Logan enough for doing what he's doing. If you're in California or coming to California, you have to check him out. His menu drops on Tuesdays, I believe. Wednesday morning is when at 10 a.m. Pacific time is when the online ordering is released, and I think it sells out in minutes. It's just insane. He talks about the power of Eater. He had an Eater article and Farley Elliott and how he just blew up from that, like insanely blew up. So there's all that good rad stuff, and I know you're going to enjoy this. And the Kevin's Barbecue Joints podcast and YouTube show is brought to you by Centex Smokers. You can check Michael and his stuff out at Centex_smokers on Instagram. That's CENTEX_smokers. Making offsets. He can do everything. Look at his stuff. Follow him. Beautiful, beautiful quality. He's out 4 to 5 months right now. Give him a DM for a price and a quote. Again, that's Centex Smokers. And we're brought to you by Treaty Oak Distilling. That's treatyoakdistilling.com, or their physical location in Dripping Springs, Texas. Again, Treaty Oak Distilling. And I have a website at kevinsbbqjoints.com. Check it out. All my podcasts, all the YouTube stuff, crazy lists. Hopefully an incredible resource for you. Again, thanks for checking these out. I hope you have a good week. Enjoy this. The Eater article came out how many?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
What, 2 weeks ago?
Like 2 weeks ago, like it was a beautiful Wednesday morning, and Farley Elliott texted me, he was like, "Are you ready?" And I was like, "Oh fuck, I don't know." And so, yeah, they dropped the article, and it just went crazy, man. It's been very like humbling, and it's been very exciting for the company and for like my wife and I, and just like for all of us, like in general. But it's been like low-key overwhelming as well. It's been a lot.
And then when you say that, does that mean the amount of people that have wanted to come out, or the DMs, or the people following you? Like, what is that? What happens?
I mean, I think it's literally like everything across the board. It went from, we had, I think, like 4,000 followers like day of, and then now we have like 8,000 followers. But I know it's crazy. Like we like gained like 2,000 followers in like a day, which was wild. And as a chef and someone who's been in the industry for a long time, like I've been working on like the Instagram game and all that kind of bullshit for a long time, and it literally just like overnight.
How weird is that? Is that amazing? It's the power of Eater and an article by Farley. It changes everything.
It's wild. And like Farley's so cool, and he's just like such a dope dude. And when he came out, because he hit me up on Instagram, and he came out the first time just kind of like see what it was about, and if we were like, I guess, like worth writing about. Yeah. And I told him too, I was just like, yeah, dude, there's no frills. There's no kitchen. It's a garage and a 500-gallon smoker and like a 500-gallon cooker in the front yard. And that's about it. And he's like, well, cool. And like, he came out and we had like the spam, and I think we were doing duck that weekend, and we did like bosom barbacoa and like all this other stuff. And so like, he was really impressed, and he didn't hit me up for like 2 or 3 weeks. I was just like, okay, cool, whatever. Yeah. I was like, that was it, whatever. And I worked in restaurants for a long time, so like I get the review game and like the critic game and stuff. So I was like, okay, whatever. And like he just like slid in the DMs one day. He's like, hey, it's me again. I want to come interview you. I want to come interview your wife. I want to see the operation. We want to take pictures. We really want to publish you. It's just like, oh fuck, like okay, like I'm down. Like it's cool. And originally I thought he was coming out to do one of those jams that's like the best thing that
like
our editor. Yeah. And so.
Which is still awesome, but yeah.
Exactly. And I have a couple other people that I know my buddy Jay from Barbacoa Boys, he had like a little like
Yeah.
blurb in Eater, and it did great things for him and stuff. And like the more I talked to Farley about it, he was like, no, this is like a full like article. I was like, uh, like
Yeah.
that? And
And
he's
so
like, yeah, like that.
they brought out a photographer too, right? I would have.
Oh yeah, shout out to my boy Frank Wanho. He is fantastic. He's
Yeah,
great.
he's
Him
great.
and I text back and forth, and I kind of fucked up, and he was supposed to come out this weekend, and I ended up selling out a freaking Korean barbecue like hot links, and it just Frank, if you're listening to this, I love you. I appreciate you. You know, but they came out, man, and they had the whole rig, and like I said, it's literally it's in a garage, and so they took photos and stuff, and then a couple weeks later, like Farley like said the article was going to come out, and when it did, I mean, I was floored. I was absolutely 100% just like, oh my god. Like, so I've been in the industry for a little over a decade. I started cooking when I was 15 at a mom and pop shop here in Simi Valley called Cronies. Like the whole like, you know, story where it's basically, you know, someone called in sick. I was washing dishes, like, hey, I need someone to chop onions. I was like, oh fuck, like let me just like jump in. Started working at Fry Station, and it kind of like just like grew from there, where I was big into wrestling in high school.
Okay.
And like my dreams were getting like a full scholarship and like, you know, like the ride into school, and I wanted to be a wrestling coach, and I honestly wanted to study theology and psychology.
That's rad. That's
Yeah,
deep. That's learn about everything, like what whole
yeah, dude,
existence.
it's a weird, I don't know, it's just something that always fascinated me, just something, and I still read a lot and I still do a lot of studying,
Yeah,
I mean, philosophy is a crazy subject, getting into it, and like where we are in the universe and who we are as people, blah blah blah. I don't know how that connects to barbecue, but
it connects
sure
to what's happening in the world right now too. Like,
absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
how
Got
did you go from that path to cooking again?
So I
Because you
lost
wanted
my
to,
scholarship.
was there MMA? Was that kind of a dream too? Is that, I remember reading an article.
Yeah, so let me.
Okay, let's go back. Let's go back.
Yeah, I'm jumping all like.
That's okay.
Really,
that's
like,
fine.
But no, I tell my wife all the time, just like, if you don't direct me in the right direction, I will start talking to you about anything and everything. You want to learn about Atlantis and how like aliens exist? I'm your guy. Like, I will be there for it.
Nice. That'll be a part 2 of this interview.
Yeah. But so if you take it all the way back to before the Eater article, before, you know, being a chef and all that stuff, I grew up here in Simi Valley, and this is where we cook out of.
Okay.
And so I grew up here when I was young. I was born up north, moved down here with my mom and stuff. Single mom growing up. You know, I always tell people like my passion from cooking came from like cooking for me and my brother. Mom had to work. I was eldest son. So I did a lot of cooking at home, and I went from top ramen to like making our own bread to like, you know, starting to learn how to braise and like that kind of stuff too.
Okay.
Where I really enjoyed cooking my entire life because I like to eat. I was a big I've just always
and that's
been
important. If you learn how to cook well or for yourself, that's the start.
Exactly.
For people that don't know, Simi Valley is from like downtown Los Angeles. It's northwest-ish. Is that what you say? Like, it's out the 118 freeway.
That's all we are, is off the 118 freeway. And and we'll get into it, but like after I moved away from Simi, I swore to myself I would never ever come back here, because Simi Valley is just Simi Valley. I love it to death, but small town. I tell people it's like a suburb of Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
We're about 40 minutes like northwest of Hollywood, probably about like 30 hard minutes from LA on a good day. I mean, and we're like literally share a wall with Chatsworth. And then after Chatsworth, you get into like Van Nuys and like Reseda and stuff. So we're right there, but then we're also like part of like, you know, Ventura County. It's been great to come back to the community, and it's been great to like get reacquainted with kind of like my childhood home, but I never thought I'd come back because it's a small town. It's little being, there's literally like no culinary scene here whatsoever. I mean, at all.
No. I used to live in Granada Hills. So we would try to go out to, when I was married, and we tried to go out to some places in Simi, but there a couple places tried to exist, but it's just never.
Well, it's wild too, because now I have people asking like, oh, well, when are you gonna open up a restaurant? And I was like, never ever. You know, and not here in Simi, because it's hard for people to get here. It's a hike, you know, it's a drive, because we're in that weird corner where it's not Santa Barbara or Ventura, but we're not LA, or
it's like a no man's land. It really is kind of like a little pocket.
Yeah, and it's literally a pocket because we're like in the valley. You know, like we sit in the valley, and so it's been really cool to be back here, and really like a really wild experience. But after I graduated high school, I'd wrestled for a long time. I'd gotten a half-ride scholarship to Cal State Fullerton on the wrestling program. And then I was there for 3 months and they pulled funding for the program.
Lovely.
Yeah. So I was just like, well, fuck. And so I came home, tried my venture in like an MMA career, and had a really good amateur record, had a really okay, very mediocre professional record.
Huh. Yeah.
And then, yeah, I went 13-1 in my amateur, lost my third fight, and then just went on this like rampage for 10 fights straight and just cleaned them out. And then
Does
I
that
got my
involve like fights here in LA or Vegas, or how does that even work? Like,
So back then there was a lot of smokers. And what a smoker is
what
you go to a gym that has blacked out windows, and you fight another kid who's probably just as old as you are, who's still trying to be like an MMA fighter, and you either win or you lose. Yeah, a lot of them aren't regulated. Towards the end, there was a lot more like professional amateur fights where there was a ring, they were at hotels, but all of them were here in LA.
Okay.
I finished out that, and my last fight was brutal. I just got this shit kicked out of me, and I was like, okay, cool, like this isn't for me. And I had been working at a local restaurant called Cronies, and my mom was a bartender there, got me a job there, and I really enjoyed food. And my mom was like, well, why don't you go to culinary school? And my mom's a big baker.
Okay.
And so my mom had gone on a tour at the Cordon Bleu like maybe like 7 or 8 months before, and she was like, oh, this is really cool. And she brought home pamphlets and shit and all this other stuff. And I kind of started looking through them. I was like, dude, that's pretty cool. The Cordon Bleu is in Pasadena, yes. The culinary school I went to was in Santa Monica.
Okay.
And it's no longer around. The Art Institute of Los Angeles. And originally when I started out in the baking and pastry program, where I really enjoyed breads. I really enjoyed chocolate work, like blowing sugar and just like, yeah, just like the artistic ability behind what a culinary, like what a baking and pastry person could be like, especially like a pastry chef. And I wanted to work on like cruise ships, and I wanted to work on, in like Vegas and stuff. And I wanted to do these like huge, crazy things. I thought they were so cool.
Yeah. And there's a lot of opportunity within that world. And it seems like that's a good route if you want to get a job. I don't know how it is with COVID and stuff, that things have changed so much, but that a lot of people would go on that path because there's a lot of places that need a really good pastry chef.
And I mean, if you could get into a place, because I ended up working at hotels for a long time, and we'll get to that, but like looking back, like there's a very small niche, because I mean, pastry chefs aren't, and I hate to say it, they're not as needed as much as they used to be, because it's kind of like a dying art. But the guys that knew what they were doing and that could like, mold freaking like these glass pieces and like do this chocolate work, and just like some of these people are insane. And so I really wanted to do that. But when I got to culinary school, I started working in hot food, and I was like, holy shit, this is the dream. This is where I want to be. This is freaking cool. Like being on the hotline, throwing plates, throwing pans, like this is dope, And so I transferred my major over from, baking and pastry to culinary arts and sciences.
Okay.
Went through culinary school, did a couple stages here in LA, like Melise and
Melise is like, when I saw Melise, I'm like, wow, that's impressive.
Yeah. And I mean, I staged there for maybe 3 months, never got a job, and it just became like too much because I was staging there. I was staging at Providence, and I was going to school full time.
Providence, so did you cross paths with Ellen at Headley and Bennett, or had she already left?
I'm not sure if she had already left, because this was 2009.
Yeah, I'll try to research it. Maybe it's before.
Yeah, I mean, because I was like one of those old heads, and it's funny too, because like now that we've gotten a little bit of notoriety, people have reached out. I was like, yeah, like remember when like we worked at Providence? They're like, no. And I was like, yeah, I was like the fucking kid in the corner, just like picking flowers and like.
But still, Providence and Melise are two of the best restaurants in Los Angeles.
Right. And when I was in culinary school too, like there was never a point that I ever thought about working anywhere else, because I had a chef who was just like, we had our culinary class, and like fine dining really like is something I really got into and I really obsessed over. And I started researching at the time, like Ferran Adria was doing these like crazy things, and David Chang was like evaluating and turning the fine dining world on its head. And Granite Katz was doing these fucking like just insane things out in Chicago. And it was just like, dude, it was a really like 2008 to like 2011, 12 was a really cool time in the culinary world where everyone's doing molecular gastronomy and like making these like crazy things. It was a cool, sorry not to like get off track, but like, it was just cool time.
I'm loving this because I remember this looking at it from afar.
Yeah. And it's just like a really, like, I still have like my first like edition of Momofuku cookbook that I still just like pour over and just like obsess over, and like the Linea cookbook, and just like, it was really cool time. And like, I'm like a kid in like Los Angeles, and I'm working for these places, but they're paying nothing, and I'm
Yeah.
just like killing myself. So Hyatt came along and was like, hey, little kid, here's 10.50 an hour, full benefits, 401k. You work a certain set of hours, like you clock in, you clock out, everything. You want to work? I was like, fuck yeah, bro, like sign me up. So
Which Hyatt? Or does
the Hyatt, at the time it was the Hyatt Westlake.
Oh, the one, okay, with the Westlake one, okay.
Yeah, and so that's where I got my start with Hyatt, and that
I
went on to
actually
be the.
I furnished that when I was with my dad back in the day when my dad was alive. We sold furniture to hotels, and that was
No
the Hyatt
shit.
Westlake was it was a huge job that we got. We came like under the gun and got it. Like it was a pretty exciting
Dude,
thing.
that's so
Yeah.
dope because that's where I started working at. Like
That's
that
so
was like my
weird.
first, and like it was a different world too because like at Providence and Lee's I was like getting the shit kicked out of me every day, and no one knew who I was. I was just like I worked on the move station and I like just did like just prep work, but I was in those situations. I was around those people who just wanted to like operate at that intensity and that like level. And so going to Hyatt, nothing against it, but it was a lot different. I
It's a
remember when I
different
fucking.
animal.
Yeah, and I remember when I stacked up all my pots and pans, I went over to the dish pit and I just started fucking like, scrubbing at my dishes and stuff. And they're like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "It's the end of the night, dog. Like I'm trying to I want to get the fuck out
Yeah,
of here.
I want
Like
to
I'm
get
trying to
home.
go drink. Yeah, I'm trying to go home." And they're like, "No, we have stewards for that." I'm like, "What's a steward?" Because I'd always call them porters. And they're like, "What's this?" I was like, "What's a steward?" They're like, "Oh, the dishwashers." I was like,
That's so interesting.
"What?" And I just left it. I was like, dude, I just like walked out of the hotel, just like fuck it. It was wild though to like make that transition. And I worked there for about just shy of 2 years, almost to the head. And my chef that had hired me had moved out to Columbus, Ohio, and had contacted me. I was like, hey, because mind you too, I was at Hyatt coming from these like restaurants, and I would come in early to like play with dishes and like do different shit that never made it on the menu, that no one knew what I was doing. I was making like banana cake out of like gelatin and like mashed bananas, and people were just like, oh my God. And it just wasn't the place for me at the time. And so my chef had always seen that I was like a really hard worker. I was really about it. I show up late. I mean, I show up early, like leave late. I was just that like guy.
Yeah.
Never turned down like, overtime or anything of the matter. And so he had transferred out to Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, I was wondering how you ended up in Ohio.
Oh, dude, it went from LA to Ohio. I did a little bit in Key West and a little bit in Dallas. I went to Louisville, Kentucky, Monterey, San Diego, Chicago, back to Monterey, and now I'm in Simi Valley. It's like
So
literally just like one.
so was that with all that same chef or
No, 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 all with Hyatt.
all with
And
Hyatt? Okay.
so I followed him to Columbus, Ohio, because I loved working for him. He was passionate too. And I
Gotcha.
went from like a 300 room hotel to like a 900 room hotel, which at the time was a big jump.
Yeah.
I was a lead Garmin J cook, which
Okay.
was like the randomest thing ever, because I just wanted a spot. Also wanted to get out of Simi, was going through some stuff with like my family, and I knew Simi wasn't for me. I'd gotten arrested a couple times. I wasn't
It
up
was
to
good
good
to get
shit.
out. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. And I was just like, dude, I'm fucking like, I'm out, like, peace. And my mom was super supportive. My stepdad was super supportive. And like, I left with 2 bags and like a roll up backpack. And that was it. I sold all my shit, sold my car, sold my TV. And I was just like, I was out. And I found some guy on Craigslist and I moved in with him, and we lived, in the short north, and it eventually moved into like a bigger home too with like these other guys. And it was a really cool experience. I was 20,
Yeah, how great is that?
21. Yeah, 21, 22, completely like peace. Like, it's not like I moved to like downtown LA or even like San
That's actually
Francisco.
better that you did. I think it's
I was just like, I'm out, I'm done. And, kept really close contact with my family. And while in Ohio, actually got offered a position as like corporate management trainee. So what Hyatt does is like they groom you to be like an up and coming like sous chef. Like they give you all the Hyatt training. I had to work all the positions in the hotel, from housekeeping to steward to front desk agent to. It was wild. It was cool.
so killer. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was.
Because the hospital, that's actually like people go to school to get that kind of education to the hotel management kind of.
I tell people all the time, it was my second culinary school.
Yeah.
Because I learned so much, and like talking to people, and like the little old ladies that worked housekeeping, and little old ladies that worked all these like fucking hella hard jobs.
Oh yeah.
I remember working housekeeping, being like, dude, fuck being a cook. This shit sucks. Like, this is brutal.
Yeah, people don't realize how much. That's why I always tip my housekeeper, because I used to go to hotels, deal with hotels. That was our business.
Yeah.
And people treat them so terribly. And if you've ever seen what people do to a hotel room, like, and not even the disgusting things, just in general, they
Oh,
just destroy them.
I know, because I've seen some weird shit in my times working for hotels. And so I transferred out to Ohio, did that for just shy of like a year and a half, and there was they needed help down at the Kentucky Derby in Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky. Well, mind you, like Columbus, Ohio's here, Louisville,
Yeah, I
Kentucky's like
guess
right
it's not.
here.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like kind of like if you would do it like in time, it's like Salinas, Monterey to like LA. It's
Mhm.
it's super close. And so I went down to help, was there for like 2 weeks. Kentucky Derby is fucking wild. If you've ever
I've
been
just
to it,
I've just heard of it.
dude,
I mean, I've
working
heard
it,
that it's crazy. Like
it's
it's a real thing. It's
dude, it is a event. I mean, the hotel would make like almost like an eighth of their revenue for the whole year in that weekend. It was insane. Mind you, another small hotel, like 350 rooms. But then after Kentucky came and went, one of the Sues was like had a kid and he was out, and then he said he wasn't coming back. So like, hey, we have an opening. Would you like to be a sous chef? And I was like, fuck yeah, bro. Like, I want to be a sous chef at 23. Had no fucking clue what I was doing at all. Dude, fucked up so much shit. I was such an idiot. Like, I was still in that like young 20s like mindset. I just was not really wasn't a good sous chef, and
it's interesting that you can look back on this and understand these things, because sometimes
just be like,
people just
what a waste of life. Like, what were you doing, man?
that's hilarious.
And so spent a couple years there, got in trouble with the law again there. So I ended up being there for 4 years, met my wife there, had my kid there, everything. And it was like the 2 year mark, like 2015, early 2016, when I really started realizing like, like I really need to like kind of get my shit together, like kind of like get my life together. And so Nolani came along, our daughter, and I was like, wow, I really need to
Yeah,
get
for
my life
sure. That's
together.
if that's not a sign, yes.
Yeah, dude. So I buckled my shit down, got really into it, got really obsessive over food, had some like chefs change, met a really cool chef, Pietro Consorte, who he literally transferred from a 2 Michelin star restaurant in Milan, Italy at a Hyatt to the Louisville, Kentucky Hyatt. And I was
Wow.
like, what are you doing, bro? Like, what are you doing here? And just like really like re-amplified and got me excited about like fine dining and like that world. And we did some really cool shit, and it was a lot of fun. And then after I got my court shit cleared up in November of 2016, March 2017, we were in Monterey, another Hyatt, working for the same chef that brought me out to Ohio.
Interesting.
Long story for short, yeah. So I went to go work for him. Busy summer, crazy, and in the end of this year, October, that hotel sold.
Huh.
So
Okay.
I wanted to another management company.
Yeah, that's
So
what people don't realize, that it's a lot of times it's a management company that comes in for a certain contract.
Yes. And so Davidson came in, took over the hotel. I was like, cool, I'm out. Like, not a big fan of like the Davidson thing. And so we were there for 6 months, transferred down to another Hyatt in La Jolla, California, which
Wow.
is the Hyatt Regency Aventine. And I took over a sushi restaurant. Wild, And I walked in, met a lot of people. I was replacing like a 29-year-old or a 29-year employee in that position. And it was just like one of those things where I walked in, I looked at the sushi staff, and I was like, yo, like I've never made sushi before, but now I'm your boss. I don't know what I'm doing. Help me. And
Oh,
we
that's
really started doing these things, and like started like getting really in depth with like fish. And like we would all, like me and a couple like my supervisors and stuff, we would go to the market at 3 a.m. down in San Diego and pick fish and have it delivered later. And so they would come in and I would come in, and we get langoustines and fucking like razor clams and like big eye tuna, and we'd get like these collars that were like 3-4 feet long, and we would cook them. And it was just like, it was a really another cool part of like my culinary career that
yeah.
really made me obsessive about like animals and just like really learning about animals and doing that damn thing. So
But
then I was there for
it also shows that it shows people that you should take risks. Like, you had never worked in a sushi place before,
mm-mm.
but it's like, screw it, I'll figure this out.
Yeah, and like the executive chef Souza, she was like this older lady out of Portugal who was like, once again, like just super dialed in, that European mindset, just like go go go, fucking killer. Like, it was really cool working for her and just working at that property. But then like 8 months later, the restaurant the space that the restaurant was in got sold to another company called Orange Theory. And like, dude, like my executive chef, the
To
general
the
manager,
the workout company.
to Orange Theory, yeah. So the space that Japango was in was sold to a gym.
Wow, interesting.
Dude,
Yeah,
it was wild. I have a couple like little like art and stuff that we pulled out of the restaurant. Like there's like a little Buddha that sits in our front yard and stuff. That's all
Oh,
from
that's
Japango. Yeah, that we just took. It was wild, man. And it was hard walking into like, a room of like 30 cooks and being like, I know a lot of you have worked here
yeah.
for 25 years, but this is what's happening. And we got a lot of them jobs at like, the Regency downtown.
Is there one in
The Grand.
Torrey Pines?
That's the one. No. Torrey Pines in
Hilton.
Monterey? Or
Is
is
it a
it?
Hilton? Torrey Pines?
It
No,
might be. Is Torrey Pines in San Diego or in Monterey?
it's San Diego.
I've worked at a lot of places with a lot of golf courses, and I have not a fucking clue about golf.
Yeah,
It's
the
like,
Torrey Pines, like it's a beautiful property. The golf course is gorgeous. I don't play golf, but it's
yeah,
magnificent. It's right on, but also Monterey is like right on the ocean. Like that's that golf course there. That's the Pebble Beach, right?
yeah. Pebble Beach is like the one, which is funny because I mean I'll get to that in a little bit, but like, we actually ended up transferring back to that same Monterey property, and I was supposed to be at the food and dining, the Pebble Beach Food and Wine Festival in 2020 before all the shit fell apart. And I remember like researching like Burt Backman because at that time I was like all into barbecue and I was like,
Oh yeah, I
who am I?
remember. Yeah, he was.
I was like, I'm like, who am I fucking gunning for? Like, who's gonna, I gotta make so and so many, like, how many fucking like canapes and stuff. It was crazy. And now like Burt Backman and me like text, and I'm just like, the world is a weird place.
It's funny how things happen. Yes, definitely.
Dude, it's been strange. And so like finished up in San Diego, closed that one down, and then I transferred out to Chicago to work for the Hyatt out there, the Hyatt Regency downtown. 2,300 rooms, 250,000 square feet of banquet space, just banging numbers, just like thousands and thousands of people to be fed. It was insane. It was fucking crazy. And I worked in the banquet kitchen, PMs. I'd work from like 10 a.m. to like 6 p.m. every day. And it was just like, I would walk in with my ass on fire and I'd walk out with my ass on fire. It was go,
That's
go,
crazy.
go all the time. Not a tweezer in sight, not a foam, even close. Everything was out of the box. And we just like thousands and thousands of canapes and thousands of just like fried chicken tenders. It was fucking wild. It was crazy.
But that's like when you see how like the underground of Vegas, how it works, like the massive amount of food is pushed out of these places, and you got to experience that. That's actually great knowledge to have.
That's the only reason why I can cook, 200 pounds of brisket every weekend. In like the organization that like stands in my mind is because like I know how to like operate like just a fucking massive amount of people. I know where to direct people and what needs to be done. And I mean, we had steam kettles that were 150 gallons, like 200 gallons. They had motors in them that could stir it for you. It was insane. Like I had a wall of just Rationale ovens of like 10 of them. We could fire like almost 225 sheet pans at one time. It was insane. And I worked with some cool people and made really good friends. And then at the end of 2019, I also smoked my first brisket in Chicago, which was awesome.
Really? Off of like in a little.
It was a char griller, fucking 50-gallon. It's still in my backyard. I still have it. And it was one of those things where like I learned a little bit about barbecue in Kentucky, but there's not like a lot of like, real barbecue in Kentucky. And so it was one of those things where like I would smoke like baby back ribs, I would smoke like, pork butt, pork belly, but I never like really done like brisket. And we were actually cleaning out a walk-in freezer, which you can imagine the size of it in Chicago. It's like half the size of a football field. And there's just like, it's so deep and there's like ice. It's like walking into like the Antarctica because there's just so much shit everywhere. And we were cleaning it out and I found 2 prime briskets that had been in there for like a year and a half that had just gotten forgotten.
Yeah.
They were trying to do it up in the restaurant. It didn't work out. But I asked my chef, I was like, hey, can I buy these like wholesale? Can you give me like 50% off? Can I just, he's like, oh, just take them home. He's just like, just fucking take them. And so like I took them home, shoved them in our freezer at home. Didn't know what I was going to do with them, but they were there. And I got in link with these guys called Schmeal, who were like a home cook app that you could like sell your food to like people in like your area.
Interesting.
And I started with like pork belly and I started with like ribs and stuff. And I was like, fuck it, dude. Like, so I bought the Aaron Franklin cookbook, the barbecue one. I was like, dude, I'm gonna do a brisket. I'm gonna fucking like do that shit. And my little char grill, I woke up at like 3 o'clock in the morning and I had it all trimmed and I seasoned it and I babied it all day. And it was shit. It was really terrible.
Of course.
Looking back, it was really, really bad. But it's just something that stuck with me, just like the amount of passion and like the attention to detail that has to go into barbecue compared to like fine dining and the other stuff. It's the same thing, just a little bit different, just different elements and different outlooks on the culinary industry, but it's the same obsession, it's the same passion, it's the same want for those type of things. You know, that bite, that food that you want to share with people.
Yeah,
And
and
so
the time that it takes, the respect for the ingredient. Yeah, it's
so much fucking time.
yeah.
So much time. Like we cooked yesterday and like that brisket took me like damn near 16 hours. So struggling with the fire. I'm just like, oh my God, I want to fucking kill myself. But no, it's the same attention to detail. And when we were in Chicago, because I was doing such like mass production with food at the Hyatt, I started staging again at 30 or 29 at like Oriole and like Stoneflower and a couple other like
Wow.
Michelin star restaurants in Chicago. And I'd walk in and these dudes be like, you're old. I was like, yeah, thanks. You know, I'll go cut these vegetables now. Like, it was wild. Like, you look at these kids in there that were like 21, 22,
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
who are just killers, who are just fucking killers, man. And I'm just like, oh my God, what have I done for the past 10 years? But for the most part, everyone was cool. And I got to work at Stoneflower with Jacob Bickelhop, which was awesome. And it was just shoulder to shoulder cooking, which was mind altering. And then towards the end of 2019, I cooked my first brisket in June 2019. But then in 2019, Hyatt Monterey called me and was like, hey, we have a job opening. Long story for a short story, they threw a shit ton of money at me. I was like, guess we're moving back to Monterey. So the wife really loved it there. And so that was a big push for it too. It was back in California.
Yeah, and it really is a different type of place to live. I had to visit a property up there, and I stayed like the Pacific. Is there like a Pacific Grove
End?
or Pacific Grove?
Oh no, Pacific Grove. Yeah, where the Butterfly Museum is. It's very bohemian. It's very like my wife and I's speed. It's very like I loved Chicago. I think about it every day, and I would love to move back. And my wife's a lot more.
It's a great city. It really is a great city.
I love Chicago, and because it's a barbecue podcast, like I just want to talk about real quick Lim's Barbecue down the South Side off of the 79th stop. That was life changing for me. My buddy Demetrius took me down there. It was one of those like random things one day. He was a bartender at the bar that I was stopped at on the way home from the train. Big old black dude. He's like, yo, I got to take you to this place. And it's like deep in the South Side. Like it was just such
aquarium
a cool
smoker, right? Was it the aquarium style? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And I didn't know what that was until like 6 weeks ago when I saw like an article and I was like, oh my fucking God, like I've been there. You go outside, there's no tables. There's literally just a 4-inch steel plate that runs the length of the restaurant. And you stand out there and they give you a boat, a paper boat. They stuff it with fries. They fucking smother that with barbecue sauce. They put your protein on top of it. They smother that in barbecue sauce. And they put a fucking piece of white bread and in a fucking paper plate or in a paper bag. And then they hand it to you. And you're just like, what do I do with all this?
Well, especially coming from Simi Valley or Los Angeles, like you're like, wait a second, this is unlike anything we've had. Yeah.
Like nothing that I'd ever had or had like ever done, but it was just like it was one of those like barbecue moments. It's like kind of like the same kind of moment I had with like Ugly Drum back in the day.
You mean Ugly Drum as in Eric stuff?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I had a really cool experience with Ugly Drum, like back in the day when they were still at Smorgasburg, and I had his pastrami, and that was like definitely like.
Yeah, it's Eric knows what he's doing, and he has the same kind of mentality. He has such a fine brain, like a fine eye for detail. Like he is very passionate about the details.
And so Chicago got a call from the GM, got a really good offer, moved back to Monterey, full thing. We were living in the hotel for
so you were actually living in the hotel?
Yeah, so every time you transfer, you live in the hotel for like a certain set amount of time. It depends how long you can live in the hotel by your position. When I went back to Monterey, I went as executive sous chef. So there's only one more step up into that LC position, that like leadership committee like thing. And like my big thing was like, I wanted to work in Chicago. I wanted to work for corporate. I wanted to be like, it definitely had turned into more of like money chasing and kind of like comfortability instead of like being passionate about like food, which I was still trying to do the same, but like Hyatt came back and they offered me damn near, 6 figures. I mean, I was super shy of 6 figures.
There's a certain time in your life where you're like that sort of comfort and security. That type of security is important in your life.
And at the time I was like, I just turned 30 and I was like, dude, people don't get these offers until they're like late 30s. I was like, fuck yeah, like let's fucking jump at it. Me and my wife talked about it and we loved Northern California. So we moved back and we were living there, and I went on Food Network and I won Supermarket Stakeout back in January, which is a fun fact.
That,
fucking
yeah,
steam.
I was going to ask you about that. That was on my list of questions.
Yeah. We were one of the lucky ones to get called back to our jobs in like middle of summer. And we made the decision of being like, you know what, fuck this. Like, when is the next time we're going to be able to do this? Like, when is the next time? Like, we have the momentum, we have the steam, we have this thing going on. Why not just fucking try to chase it to the end of the rainbow? You know, why not try to just make it into something? And that was probably like June, July. This was pre all the eater stuff. And then fuck
Wait,
you, like,
so when you were in Monterey, were you doing any of this type of pop-up-y stuff at all?
yeah, sorry. Yeah, like I said, and it's wild too because it's such a lengthy story as well
It's
that it's like
important.
it's not just like because like even like because I talked to like Andrew and like Bert and stuff, and like Andrew was like, yeah, we were doing it in the backyard and it got too big for the backyard, so then we just expanded, and I was like, and then what? And they're like, oh no, he's like, no, that's like just I'm like, oh fuck, like, and I talked to all these dudes like. None of them have like culinary backgrounds.
Mm-mm.
These guys were just like bangers in the backyard, just like
Yeah.
selling hundreds of pounds of bread. I was like, what the fuck? I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like, what is
It's
going
great.
on? And it's so wild to like meet these like accountants and these like realtors and like these like people who have no culinary background. And I want to start like talking to them about like culinary stuff. Like, hey, did you see like the recent article about how like meat prices are fluctuating because like different muscle structures are being now affected because like the weather's different? They're just like, you're a fucking nerd. Get out of here.
No, I love
like,
that though. I love that.
I'm just like, man. So okay, sorry. But yeah, so we finished up in
That's awesome.
Chicago, moved back to Monterey. Took an executive sous chef position, was like the number 2 in the kitchen, and I just started just like banging, man. And my executive chef was cool, but he was definitely more like the numbers, like desk guy. And I was like, no, like I want to be on the floor 24/7. I want to fucking get weird. I want to do cool shit. We rewrote menus. We had all this cool stuff going on. We had started doing barbecue because I left Chicago with this like barbecue obsession and like this like true blue like just like how do we do this? And one of the main restaurants in the resort in Monterey is Knuckles, which is a sports bar. And it
Okay.
was like when we moved there, it was like smack dab in the middle of football season. And so like Sunday afternoons, the place was packed, like just super packed. And Monterey's a small town. And it's funny too because we got rated best sports bar like 8 years running. We're like one sports bar in Monterey City. It's like, bro, stop giving me this fucking like accomplishment because it's a participation trophy. But people would come up, dude. There was tailgaters in like the parking lot and stuff. So there was a big
There was a
need for like
need for
this.
it. There was yeah.
Yeah, and so I was just like, fuck yeah, like let's start doing brisket. Let's start doing these platters because I saw these pictures from Texas and from like the Carolinas and stuff of just like these people doing these gorgeous spreads and like doing cool shit. I'm just like, bro, like this is what I want to do. Like I want to be that guy that drops off the thing. I was super hyped for it. We did a bunch of PR. I actually got published in like the local newspaper about like, you know, loving care comes to Monterey with smoked meats. Cause my biggest thing is like, yo, like you can't rush this shit. Like there's no cheating in barbecue. Like
No.
there's no like you can wrap it in foil, you can make the fire hotter, but if you want true blue like brisket, there's no
Yeah,
shortcuts.
there's no
You know what I
cutting
mean?
corners. Yeah.
You can't cut corners on trimming, on seasoning, on like on fire management. There's no like cheats. So like I was really into it and no one fucking bought it. No one liked it. I mean, we got like
I'm
a
laughing,
core.
but I'm sorry. That's terrible.
No.
I'm
But
laughing because it's absurd. I don't know what, but yeah.
but I kept doing it though. I kept waking, and we'd only serve it on Saturdays. So we were living in a hotel. I'd wake up at like midnight on Friday, and I'd go into the kitchen at 1 a.m. because I literally just get my little golf cart and like drive to the other side of the property.
So
I would light
bizarre.
the fire. I know, right? It's fucking. I would show up in my pajamas, light the fire, feed it a couple sticks because it's the tiny 50-gallon offset. It's minuscule, and that's what I just did every weekend. And like my sous chef Kevin, he got obsessed with it, and so we were like these barbecue dudes who were just like doing it, and we would tag each other out, and it was just, dude, it was a lot of fucking fun, man, and like it just was really cool. And the best thing about it was like I would start working at like 1 a.m. and then all my like garde and like bakery cooks would come in at like 5, and they're like, chef, like what? How long you been here? I'm like, I've already been here 4 hours, and all of them would be like, yo, like this dude's fucking out of his mind, and it would like set the pace for the rest
Set
of
the
the day
tone. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because I don't have an off button. I am just like if I'm gonna be in it, then I want it 100%. Like there's no half-ass to my like world. Like I want to engulf myself in it. I want to learn.
It's very apparent, Logan.
Sorry.
No, I mean in a good way, in all the good way, in a love way.
Yeah,
It's not, yeah.
but it's just like I get so obsessive and just like so like, and I just love barbecue because like the amount of passion that goes into it, you can't fake it.
Mhm.
And so we would do the barbecue stuff, and then we ended up taking an old hot box that you would put like sternos in the bottom of, and we ended up gutting out the bottom of it, and that's when we started cooking brisket. Was we could fit 6 brisket in the stand-up insulated.
Oh,
When we
interesting.
get off, I'll send you a picture of it because I
Yeah,
still have
please.
pictures of it. And we bored out a hole in the side of it, and we put a like a car part in it for our chimney. And we would take a big iron roasting pan, light our fire in it, and we would scoot it underneath the hot box. And that's how we started doing our first. Like we made an inverted smoker.
Wow,
In
that's
the
really
back of the
interesting.
Hyatt Monterey. Dude, I'll send you pictures of it because it's
Please do.
the
Yeah,
stuff.
I would love to see photos of that.
Now that I've learned about barbecue, I'm like, what the fuck were we doing? Like
But
literally,
you
what
were
were we doing?
improvising to make it work.
Dude, because it went from like we had to do 2 briskets to like 6 briskets, and I was like, okay, cool. Like this is what, and there was like weeks we have to do 4, but like those little 50 gallons can only fit
Oh yeah,
maybe
yeah.
2, and so we'd ever have to get over 2. Like we went to this hot box, and so I was working in Monterey. We were doing that. We were
Was
getting it
this around?
hyped.
This was 2019.
This was late 2019, super early
Okay.
2020, and so I went down to San Diego to help open up a restaurant called Tidal because I was they it's a long story, but I was like one of the chefs that used to like bounce around to help open up different restaurants or like cut down on costs. Like for like not to like suck my own dick, but like for half a second, I was like a pretty well known name in like the Hyatt industry, and that was like my goal to be. And like I've been chasing it for so long, you know. And so I was down in San Diego at Paradise Point doing that, and then the last week, all of a sudden they started talking about this thing called COVID,
Yeah.
and like how COVID, and like all of a sudden like people are canceling, and people are like, oh shit, like people are like, oh shit, we're like canceling all the month
Yeah, travel
of
and convention. Yeah.
February. Yeah, all of a sudden all of March is canceled. So like, yo, we gotta send you home early because we can't afford you. Get back to Monterey, all of a sudden it's the same thing. In Monterey, our biggest pull is tourism. Our biggest thing in
That's what it
Monterey
is.
was,
Yeah, the aquarium and the yeah.
and so all of a sudden, here goes, 20K because of cancellations. Here goes 50K. All of a sudden, like the GM's having a meeting about how we're gonna have to like start
Huh.
reevaluating what we're doing. And then, the next, and it happened so fucking fast. It happened so quickly. It was like I came back to Monterey on like March 1st, and then I was jobless like the 16th. It was fucking no. The wife was jobless the 16th. I was jobless like by like the 21st. But at that point, I had already had to go into a room of 45 cooks and let everyone.
Let
And
them
it
all.
wasn't in faith. And it wasn't even because it's a union hotel and you have to like respect like the union hierarchy. I had to go in and like tell the first phase of like, the first 20 cooks, like, yo, like you're low on the union ladder, so we're laying you off indefinitely. Okay, cool, whatever, can, collect unemployment, got like,
Yeah.
furloughed. Then like 2 days later, I had to go to like all the old heads, like all like the fucking like senior cooks. I was like,
Oh.
hey, look, you guys, I know you guys have been doing this longer than I've been fucking alive, but we gotta like lay you off,
Yeah, and the
and
world's
then
changing. Yeah.
all of a sudden, like another couple of days, it's literally just me and my executive chef sitting in this office. And like I haven't seen, and because then like the world fucking imploded. There was no people on the streets, there was no people in the restaurants. My
It's
wife had
interesting
lost
to
her,
see it from that side.
yeah, and like my wife had lost her job a little bit before me, and she actually had came down here to Simi Valley to stay with my parents because her parents are all out in Ohio.
Okay.
So it was just one of those things where like my dad and my mom were just like, well, we know Logan's still working. The world's basically falling apart. If you want to come stay with us, you're more than welcome to. So she took Milani down, and like cool to see the grandparents and do that kind of thing. And I was up there, and like Monterey's already small, and like I'm kind of like low key into like photography, and like I would like going out and like taking pictures and stuff. And Monterey's beautiful, absolutely gorgeous.
Beautiful. Yeah.
And so there was one morning too, and like I said, like overnight, like I walked out into like the little neighborhood next to the Hyatt Regency, and I was like, there's fucking, it's quiet. Like there's no, like there's no one else like breathing. Like there's no one else near
Yes.
me. And it was right when like people didn't know if they needed to wear masks or they didn't wear
Mm-hmm.
masks. So it's like every person you would see, it looked like something out of a fucking like a dystopian movie.
Oh yeah.
It was fucking weird.
It
And
was
at the time,
post-apocalyptic, weird
yeah,
nightmare. But also to live in it was such a to wrap your head around because
yeah,
and I've
dude.
told people too. I've always wondered what it's like, and they're like, "Why would you ever wonder?" And I'm like, I just because of the movies and books I've read. I've always wondered what would happen if, like Ebola would have taken, like, but it's
Yeah,
such a
it was
slow,
very
that was a weird.
it was very eerie because, and once again, like we're close to the water and stuff, and because we get such bad fog coming in from like San Francisco and
Ah,
stuff in Monterey, dude, there was mornings I'd be like, what the fuck is going on? And like, so like my chef, there was
oh,
someone
okay.
in the kitchen 7 days a week, and so my chef and I would like flip flop, so I'd only see him 3 days out of the week, but those like 2 days I was there by myself, and mind you, we're still living in the hotel, so it's like, dude, and then I met a doctor who was there who was working on COVID,
Oh,
who because there was a cruise ship that got derailed and they wanted to like, because someone got infected and they're like quarantining, and I was
mhm.
like, oh my god, like I'm like living in a fucking movie. This is fucking crazy. I'm just a chef. I just want to like,
That's how I
dude, it
do
was
my job and go home.
dude, it was not to get like, not, you can edit all that out, not to
No,
keep
no,
that
I
like,
think
oh,
that would no. I want. Can I do mind if I keep some of that? There's some.
keep it all of it. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
no, yeah,
that's
whatever
some.
I say right now is
No, because also
completely,
too, I want this to be your time capsule for what your mindset right now. Because when in 10 years from now, you can hopefully, if YouTube still is around, like you can look at it and
yeah.
say, "This is
No,
what
you're
I was
right. You're
thinking.
right.
This is what," because you're not going to remember these things
Yeah, no,
as
that's
clearly.
actually that's a really good point because it's still pretty fresh. We're
Yeah.
coming up on a year in March, but it's like, dude, there was times where my wife and kid weren't around. Monterey's already small enough as it is. I mean, don't get me wrong, it made for some fantastic 35 millimeter photos,
I'm sure. I'm
but
sure.
it was like, holy fuck, like all the places that I would frequent were all closed. I would have to like, and it was one of those things like, unless you wanted to see somebody, you had to like call them. So like we were all quarantining in the hotel as employees. So there was like an A team and a B team. So like there's two different buildings of the hotel on the Monterey property. And so like you were never around anybody. If you needed to get to somebody, you had to like call them or set up a meeting, and you guys had to like, wash your hands and like wear a mask, and it'd be like an interaction. Like, so it went on like with my wife and kid being down here, it was going on like 2 weeks where I hadn't seen another like human. And I was like, this is fucking strange. And it's because we were living in a hotel. I had like food and stuff in the room, and we had like a small refrigerator, and I had some like butane burners and stuff. So I cook all my meals in, because at that point all the restaurants were closed. Everything was closed. So it was like I would take stuff home from the kitchen, like
So
vegetables and
weird.
like meat and stuff, and I'd have like my little propane butane burner out on the
The
balcony.
balcony.
Balcony. And so like I'd be out there on the balcony with like my little like, butane burner, just like cooking, lamb curry for me, myself, and I, and being like, is this what it feels like in like the
Yeah.
apocalypse? Because this
Yeah.
is what
Like
it feels
am
like.
I the only man left on the planet? Like
Dude, it was fucking crazy. And then the
uh,
first person I ever met and talked to was the lady who was there, the doctor who was like there to treat COVID. I was like, I don't know if you ever read World War Z, but I was like, this is
yeah,
what
yeah.
this is.
Uh-huh.
This is what's
Oh yeah.
fucking happening.
Yeah.
I was like, this is my journal entry. Day 15, haven't seen a single soul. Empty, and like there was this, it was wild, dude, because Monterey is already small as it is.
Hmm.
It's it was just insane. And because Anna had the car, it's not like I could like drive anywhere. So I was kind of, because we only had one car at the time. I was kind of like stuck in downtown Monterey, but there was nothing open. There was nothing going on. Like I said, I had like my little butane burner out on the balcony that I cooked,
That's
my
so
meals
funny.
with. It was wild. I would just bring stuff from the kitchen because there was no one around, and the food was going to waste anyways.
Oh yeah.
Because we had a pretty decent sized staff. We did what a lot of the other restaurants and like hotels did, where our employees we let come in and go like grocery shopping. And so
Oh,
we
that's
would like,
nice.
yeah, so like all the housekeepers took home like 2 gallons of milk, eggs, toilet paper, like the stuff that people had no chance of getting at the
Hmm.
time. I mean, I was talking to, it's funny too, like a one, that term, 1 degree of knowing people. Brock's photos, I just became friends with through like
John, yeah.
Instagram, and yeah, he's really cool. I talked to him on the phone for probably like an hour last week, and we were talking about when he, during the pandemic, he was going to like Target and stuff
Hmm.
and just taking these gnarly pictures. So I'm really like, I'm a low-key photographer. I have no talent in it
Yeah,
whatsoever,
same.
but I
Yeah,
love taking
same.
pictures.
I love taking pictures too, but John's another level, and I've
Dude,
shadowed him a few times. Yeah.
he is in fucking insane. He's actually gonna come out and shoot for us one of these weekends, and he wants us.
Nice.
he wants to set some stuff up at his house to just do like some like he wants like a ramen shop for his portfolio. He wants to do a couple of things. I'm just like, bro, if you need like
Yeah,
a
he's
dude that just to make like food look good, that you need
Mhm.
to take pictures of, I could be like your food stylist. Man, he's like, yeah, fucking like let's like. He always said like, let's get busy, yeah, busy, man. Just like, yeah, dude, let's
Yeah,
do it.
he's
He's a
like
cool
he's like the
dude.
best kind of maniac. I've watched him, and like we've done like it's almost like a quiet. It feels like working with like Mr. Miyagi, because it's like he doesn't tell you as
Yeah,
much as it's almost like learn from observing and just pay attention to what I'm doing, Kevin. And it's I've learned so much, but I'm not even like I'm like a scintilla like that's what his
yeah,
knowledge
same
is.
here,
Yeah.
same here. I just started using film this year, and I thought it was super fucking cool. Oh,
Oh
like,
wow, that's right.
and I mean, I feel like that kind of runs like with a lot of us who are passionate, where it's more, you know, it's about the work and like, obsessive
Mhm.
nature that just like kind of takes over like everything. Doing podcasts, whether it's cooking, whether it's taking photos, like
Yeah.
there's
That's
people
like
like us who are just like fucking
I can't
maniacal,
stop, and
you
I
know?
actually feel I feel shitty if I'm not doing something like
Yeah.
it's yeah
Well,
creative.
that's the only reason we're taking this weekend off is because like my wife like sat me down and was like, "Look, it's my birthday. We worked on your birthday because that was your fucking choice. We're not working on my birthday." I was like, "Okay, fair enough." You know, and like I try like, well, you know, article. She's like, "We're not working. You can try to do this by yourself, but good." So I got the quote unquote act. It was that week, and I kind of like got back to the hotel room, just like shit. Like, what are we gonna really like do? Like, I'm just Anna's jobless, and at the time, it was one of those things like, "Oh, well, we'll call you in like 2 weeks," because back we all thought
No,
it
you
was
didn't.
gonna be, you know 2 weeks, a month, and then it turned into where we are now. But I was talking to a group of my buddies, and like they have all pretty stable jobs with like the schools, and with a couple other guys. My buddy's a lieutenant in the Navy, and like so they all have like steady incomes and stuff. And I had always had steady income too, and was one of those like working men. And so it kind of like took part of like my identity too, because I was like, "Fuck you!" Like
Of
I've been
course,
doing
yeah.
this for a long time. So I was talking with my wife, and we were like debating about on it. I took a train that following Sunday from Monterey to Simi Valley, and I was on the train, and we were texting back and forth. I was texting my buddies. My buddies said, "Well, why don't you like sell barbecue?" They're like, "Simi Valley is a perfect place for it. There's nowhere here that really does like brisket. We have Reds and Green Acres that does their own thing, which is like great,
True.
and they're
Yeah,
more
yeah.
focused on like chicken and
Probably
ribs."
tip and
And they're like, "Yeah," and they're like, "No one does brisket, so why not try brisket?" I was like, "Well, I mean, I guess and of course, straight to Instagram, put some polls out, just like who wants to if I cook this weekend, would anyone buy it? Basically. And the results came back, a astute yes. So
at this point, who was following you? Were they just people that were friends or people like within the industry that you knew, or how did they, who was following?
it was a lot of combined, and like Instagram had just like barely started when I left Simi, and Facebook was like the big thing
Mhm.
when I left Simi. So a lot of people that I were friends with and like had followed me, and over the course of my career, it was kind of cool for people to watch me to go from this like kid in Simi Valley and travel to all these places and do all these cool things and wind up back in Simi. So a lot of people were almost like hyped about it. And another really cool part
And
about it
rooting
too
for
is
you too.
exactly. And like another big part of it too was that I had recently come off that Food Network show.
Yes. Okay.
So like I had the hype behind me. It had aired like literally like 3 weeks before that.
And that was the
And so
shopping, the one where you had to run into a supermarket. Is that the one? Is that the one you were?
supermarket stakeout. Yeah, supermarket stakeout. And I had to compete against three other chefs, and they give you $500 cash. And each round you have to buy groceries off of people that are coming out of the grocery store. And like
Okay.
sometimes you have to do it blind, sometimes you can only buy some of the ingredients. And like no disrespect to other chefs that I competed with, but I left like wanting to do like Chopped or something, and then the world fell
Mhm.
apart because not to like toot my own horn, but I was just a little bit like more hyper focused than the other of them. One was a personal chef, one was a meal prep cook, and then one like she owned a bunch of restaurants in Vegas, but who knows how long it had actually been since she had been like in the trenches.
Yeah, that's
Where
true.
me, so I was still working every single day and at a high level too. So I had just come from Chicago and I've been doing all this fine dining, and so like my set was fucking like
Yeah.
dialed. And I tell people all the time, when you have like a bad day and you feel like nothing can go right, like I have to go compete on Food Network, like every single thing like fell into place. Like it was like I couldn't like go wrong that day. Like my flavors were on point, my cooking was on point, my timing was on point. It was super dialed in. Funny to like watch it and how just like how proper I was, and like my shirt was pressed and everything. And now I'm like, I got a shovel and some wood. Like that's what I'm about now.
That's that.
So
I prefer that. That's cool.
me too. So like literally got back to see me, and people were talking about it and stuff, and I wrote a menu on that Monday we posted Tuesday, and we made orders go live Wednesday morning at a cap of like 35 orders, like right around like 30 pounds of brisket, like 15 racks of ribs, and a couple like other like, you know, small things, chicken quarters, just stuff that I was like familiar with and I knew
Yeah.
people would buy, and like potato salad, like coleslaw, super simple. And we ended up selling out in like 12 minutes or something.
Really?
Because like the
Like what
hype
were
was
you
just like
using?
there.
Like POS, like some kind of POS system or just some random like what?
Dude, we still use Google fucking documents, bro. Like,
So how did
like when
you
I
how
say
could
like,
you gauge it? Were you did you have to watch it and shut it off yourself?
yeah,
Ah,
yeah. I mean, I say that to this day. I mean, we're super, like when I say we're guerrilla warfare,
that
it's not
sounds
just trying to like move around and stay like underneath the radar. It's also just like everything's still rudimental because one, the taxes and fees right now that are cost through things like Talk and like through like these order systems and stuff are outrageous. And until like just very recently with the Eat article, we were making enough to get by, but it's not
yeah.
like we were like, you know, it's not like we were making like, people think the food industry just gives you like money hand over
Oh, of
fist, where
course.
it's
Yeah,
like,
that's yeah,
I
everyone
still,
thinks.
yeah, I still have food. I still have a food cost to run. I still have, you know, I still have like labor that I have. Like I pay my friends, even though they don't want it. I still fucking pay them. I still have rent to pay. There's water bills. There's fucking, you know, it's just you're selling out every week. You must be fucking rich. Like, no, dog, I'm still fucking struggling. You
Yeah.
know? I'm
This is
still
just
like
making I'm getting
this like,
by.
dude. January was our first like, wow, like this could be like something sustainable for a long time month, and not just because like the Eat article and like all that other stuff. So I was actually at the time we use Google Forms, and I just sit there and I watch the Excel sheet. Now it's a little easier because I don't have to watch it as close, and the orders just come in, and I can kind of, I have a formula that gives me like totals for like brisket at the bottom. I can kind of track it, and then when I need to, I never pull brisket. I just let that shit run because I can cook in the 500. I can cook up to like 23, 25 brisket.
You need to back up for a
Haven't
second.
got
Who's 500 do you have? Like where did you get your 500?
so that sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself like I
That's
always
okay.
do,
No,
but
because
like,
I'm just because I'm curious. I'm sure other people are like, where's this 500 come from?
yeah, so the 500 came a little bit later. I started cooking back in Chicago on my little 50-gallon char
Yeah.
griller. The first cook we did was off of a Meadow Creek Reverso 120.
Okay.
And so, with people that aren't familiar with that, Meadow Creek's a great company out of Pennsylvania. They make handcrafted Amish smokers, cookers, and there's a barbecue shop here in Simi Valley called Barbecue HQ, which is actually pretty well known
Yeah.
barbecue shop. And so initially I was like, man, I'm not gonna knock all this stuff out on a fucking 50-gallon char griller and my mom's Traeger. And I really didn't want to do that either because like that's just not my jam. And at the time I was super like, you know, fuck pellets, you know, like that, you know, like wood all day. So I went to Barbecue HQ looking for like a rental or maybe like to buy something a little bigger because like now that we had sold out, I was like, fuck, dude, like the gun's to the head now. You know, like it's freaking wild. And so I walked in, no shit, the general manager, Arvin, shout out Arvin, was a dude that I used to go to school with in high school. We graduated the same year.
Oh wow.
Yeah, dude. I mean, he went to Idaho for school, and then he came back down after he graduated and started doing like some accounting, and then started working for Barbecue HQ, and like rose through the ranks pretty quickly and became the general manager. Yeah. I mean, he's a good dude. And so he came. I was like, hey, bro, you know, like, congratulations on Food Network. Well, I'm just like, I have no clue who you are, but hi. And he's like, yeah, you know, fucking Harvard, because we've all changed, you know, and
Of
like
course. Yeah.
he's a freaking house now, and he used to be this like small kid in high school. I was like, oh, dude, fucking dope. And he actually ended up like my first couple of rentals of the 120. He actually let me rent it for free, which was super awesome. And like big shout out to Barbecue HQ and Eric and Todd, the owners, and Arvin, who just helped me out immensely. And they were really like the stepping stones to get where I am now, or where we are now. There was talks initially about doing like classes with them and teaching people how to like cook and sharpen knives, and like we had all these plans, but then it's like when COVID ends, and COVID just has never fucking ended.
No,
you know, so it's like I can't teach classes, you know, to a room of 15 people like legally, and you know, it's just I don't want to put people at risk and stuff.
But that's closer. That is a lot closer right now.
It is. It's definitely a lot closer now than it was like midsummer per se.
For sure.
And so started cooking off the 120.
So you're cooking off those,
off the milk, because literally it's what they had. Like I didn't really have any other like choice. You know, it was either that or buy. Like, I mean, there was a minute where like my dad and I were running around Simi trying to find propane tanks because I didn't know what I was going to cook on, and Barbecue HQ came through super.
So clutch. That's good to know. So barbecue, I didn't know. I just know that they're like the barbecue store in the valley. So you can
Yeah.
rent pits from them? Do they have a
Yeah.
program?
So,
Okay.
so right now, yeah. So right now they have a rental program. I mean, I usually rent the 500 every week, and I'm in talks with them right now to buy. I'm also looking to buy a custom cooker too, because now with what they're doing, the 500 isn't sufficing. I had a real this last week. I was fucking struggling. It was brutal, but we got it done. We got all the food cooked. Everything was great. But now it's time to like. I used to think the 500 was big, and now I'm looking at like 750s and like 1000s, and it's just like holy shit, like fucking life's wild, you know? And so cooked on the 120 and people started showing up and I didn't know really what was going to happen. And the first service was kind of sketchy and my wife we kind of just like, commingled
Oh,
it
yeah,
together
yeah.
between the amount of culinary experience that we both have and like restaurant experience. It kind of worked out and people fucking loved it, man. It was really like affirming to have people reach out and like talk to us and call us and text us and message us and DM us and like, all this different stuff about like, hey, dude, I don't know what you guys are doing, but don't fucking stop. Really,
They had other food? Had they ever had like moose or burnt
no,
stuff or like?
that's the thing. Like with Simi Valley, and that's why I still get super because like all these people are telling my food's great, but it's like I don't know, dog. Because I went down to Heritage, a couple of weeks ago at the beginning of the year, and I mean his ribs are fantastic.
Well,
I'm just like
Danny's is,
I'm
yeah.
sitting there
But
eating it, and
Danny's
I'm
a
just
lot
like,
like you though. He has that restaurant
yeah,
experience. So, yeah.
yeah. But it's like I'm sitting there and I'm like eating his barbecue. I'm just like, my life's a fucking lie. Like my shit is not as good as this. Like, and like I've been talking to Bert and stuff to go out and like see him. And my wife want to go out. Me and my wife want to go down there this weekend just because we're off and like I want to eat that good barbecue because we had a lot of barbecue up in Northern California and a lot of it wasn't really that good. And there
Yeah.
was a lot of times where I felt like mine was a lot better. But at the time at Knuckles, I was only cooking two brisket and
Mhm.
two brisket was all I was doing. And
Yeah.
those two brisket were absolutely perfect though. I had the time to
Yeah,
baby.
there was a lot
Now,
of, yeah, yeah.
yeah, now,
The baby them.
and it was a much smaller, yeah, and it was a much smaller cooker. Half my thermometers don't even work. And I'm just like feeling and I'm just trying to make it like I'm just rolling with like, time and temperature. And now we're doing anywhere between like 15 and 20 brisket a week. And so
That's that's a
the
decent
broad,
amount. That's a
absolutely. And to be doing it out of, our garage is pretty wild, but there's not as much time to baby every single thing. And there's
mhm.
definitely times where like briskets will come out to one, I'll be like, fuck man, this is the shit, this is fantastic. And then every once in a while where I cut into one, I'm just like, well, I'm not going to throw it away, so it's like,
Yeah, use it.
but it's still to people's standards, it's still high quality. It's just my standards. They're still just like, my cousin always gives me a hard time because he's just like, bro, like it's still good. I'm like, yeah, but it's not great. It's not
Mhm.
perfect. It's not fantastic. And that's just that mindset, And I talked to Danny a little bit when we were down there just about like Yelp and people's opinions and stuff. And it's a hard pill to swallow sometimes,
Mhm.
and he gets a lot of shit just because people understand waiting in line. People understand it takes a long time to get the food. It's trying to
And it's not
implement
like
that.
popping burgers or like a lot of places can make do with just ribs. They can kind of keep circulating ribs, and so people think, oh, they'll
Yeah.
cook all day long. Well, they're not making brisket or proper brisket. With what you're doing, how did it grow? Was it growing and then eater hit and it just exploded, or and what are you adding?
Yeah.
Because your
So
menu, your the stuff that I've seen the photos of, you have a cool mix, and also the spam that you're doing is rad too. That's
dude, if it wasn't for the spam and like the duck and stuff, I don't think we ever really would have gotten noticed because it got to the point where so the first like my wife and talk about all the time, like the first 6 weeks that we cooked, it was literally just like brisket, pulled pork, ribs, chicken quarters, or chicken drumsticks or wings. Really, you could walk into any establishment in Texas and that's the menu you would
yeah.
find. And then I started doing my own sausage links and stuff. So that was kind of like a little bit different. And then it just got kind of to the point where I was like, okay, like, well, what's next? Like, what am I going to do next? Like, what's the next step? And for a while we were running tri-tip on the menu because my buddy Arvin, the one that like hooked me up, he started cooking with us.
Oh, okay.
And for some reason, California just loves tri-tip. I'm not a big fan of it. So Arvin started cooking with us and he started doing the tri-tip because Simi Valley loves their tri-tip. Southern
Yes.
California loves tri-tip. I had forgotten about tri-tip. I didn't know what tri-tip was for the longest time because the Midwest, they don't serve it.
Hmm.
It's a triangle steak. It goes up into the sirloin and they serve it as a whole thing. And so I was like, yeah, dude, you want to serve tri-tip? Get at it. And he worked with us for a couple of weeks. We went from cooking out of my dad's house to cooking out of his house to cooking out of Barbecue HQ to cooking out of our
Wow.
other friend's house, the Moonies, to cooking out of our house. And now we're kind of like bouncing around between like breweries and like bars and stuff. So it's been a dude. A year is it hasn't even been a year. It's been like 10 months, and
That
it's just
yeah.
been a roller coaster of a ride, you know. And so after probably about like 3 or 4 cooks, that we realized that we needed to like up our capacity because every week it was like selling out, because all of a sudden Facebook and Instagram and people talking, because Simi Valley is very tight knit.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
the community's been great to us, talking to each other and telling people, you know, about the brisket. And because like people had never seen it before. People didn't know what brisket was. People thought brisket was, you know, for Passover or,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know,
Yeah, like
for
the
like,
kind like a oven cooked forever
yeah, you know,
and
but
saucy.
to pull out this freaking hunk of black meat out of the
Hmm.
cooker, people were like, what is that? What are you
Yeah.
doing with your life? You know, like burnt. And it was like, it was super, it was a really good feeling because we were bringing something to Simi Valley that I'd never seen before. And then after, you know, that effect started wearing off, our number kind of dipping and ebbing and flowing. I was like, well, fuck it. Like, I want to do shit like I want to do, you know? So we started doing these like really wild menus, and we kind of started with Asian and moved to Hispanic, did some Middle Eastern. We did, you know, island flavors. We just were like up on a Sunday, Monday after the cook and be like, all right, well, I want to make agua chiles and pastrami this week because that sounds like it's fun. And like I would just get at it. You know, I would just start building menus, and I would send them to my buddy Enrique, who's my daughter's godfather, and he builds all our menus and does like all of our graphic design for the website and for the Instagram and stuff. And so he's been a really big part of it. All of like our super cool menus come from him. Like
Oh,
he's just
really?
like a whiz at computer. Yeah. I shoot him a menu. He shoots me like a couple graphics. I'm like, and like
That's cool. That
you've
looks
seen
really
the
good.
menus. Yeah, dude. And you've seen the menus too, where it's like we go from like Street Fighter to Dragon Ball Z to, you know, like
That's
just
fun.
like to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's stuff that we enjoy, customers who are like my age and younger, but it also keeps things exciting, and it gives Enrique a chance to really express himself through his creativity too. So it's like it's been a very organic about way of like kind of growing ZEF BBQ. They've gotten super intricate.
So when Eater came, what do you think it was that inspired Eater? What were the things on the menu? That was it the spam musubi and the
So what's kind of wild is like we were changing up the menus like insanely, and it was getting to the point where like, not that I was like stretching myself too thin, but I was having a lot of fun. We were doing ramen, we were doing pho, we were doing banh mi's, we were doing beef cheek, we were doing bosan, we were
were
doing
people eating
dude.
there or taking this to go?
No, it's all to go. It's
Okay.
all curbside. It's all go. Pick up and go.
Okay.
Our serving is usually like an hour. It's been 2 hours lately, just because the influx of people we've had to handle. It's been wild. But normally it's like 4 to 5 o'clock, and we break up the times pretty evenly. Once again, we can do it all on that Google sheet,
Okay.
and we kind of just watch like our times, and like then we'll pull, because everyone wants 4 o'clock for some reason. So we'll fill up with 20 people. We'll pull 4 o'clock. 410 fills up with 20 people. We'll pull 410, and so on and so forth. And
So
so
people were getting like ramen. You were doing ramen to go. Were you doing the noodles on the side, or were you doing it all in one thing? Or?
yes. So like the ramen was cool because it was something that like I'm a big fan of. My wife, when we lived in Chicago, worked at the busiest ramen shop in the United States called Ramen San. And
Oh,
so she's kind of like but she's like kind of like a ramen snob. So it was kind of cool to kind of do it. And so we sourced these really good noodles from Sun Noodles, which is a big like ramen company. And then I would keep my dino bones, my plate rib bones from the week before, and I would freeze them. And then the following week, when I would make stock for ramen, I would get chicken feet, I would get pork neck, and I would get those dino bones. I'd put it all in a vat, and I'd just cook it down, fill it back up, cook it down, fill it back up 3 days. And it just like it
so
really
rich and
like,
so
yeah. And then you have the smoky flavor and you have everything else. And so normally I'll drop some like aromatics, and I'll put like a roasted tomato in it, because that's like just like a umami bomb. I don't know if you're familiar with Ivan Orkin, but that's what he does with his ramen.
okay. Yeah,
And
yeah.
so it
Oh, the
was
guy
like,
from
I was like,
he was in New York. It was a New York guy that moved to Japan. That guy.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, dude,
yeah,
straight out of like the Bronx and shit. Like,
yeah,
dude, he's a
yeah.
gang. I was cookbook. He's super cool. But just taking those elements, and then instead of doing like normal char siu, I would do like pork belly burnt ends, kind of.
Nice. Yeah, yeah. That's
And then that would be my char siu for ramen. Like
okay.
everything we do with like ZEF BBQ, like all items, even like the specialty items, we really try to hark back to barbecue. Because I mean, barbecue is such a universal language when it comes to food. Every single culture across the world has put fire together, put a piece of meat over it, and then eaten it.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter if it's Texas or Japan or, you know, Cairo.
Yeah.
Every culture has a part of that. So that's what I really want to hold true to when I do our food. And so like even like with the duck, with like the Peking duck, I mean, we still do the way they do it in the Chinese restaurants. I take a bike pump between the skin and the breast and I pump it up to separate the skin. And then I hang them in my garage for 24 hours. So everything dries. I put a fan on them so they dry out, but then I put like ice in front of it so it keeps them cool. Everything gets like tight.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's guerrilla warfare, but I want to do it the right way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then back of the Meadow Creek, we have a warming box that has two baffles in the bottom that you can like, and then the fire is like directly beneath that. So what I'll do is I'll crack the baffles a little bit, hang the ducks in there, and then they smoke and they roast from the bottom up. Just like if you go to just like if you go to Hong Kong, you see those big glass boxes. It's the same thing, just with barbecue specs. You know what I mean? Like it to me, it makes sense.
Yeah,
in my mind,
you're like MacGyvering it. You got to figure it
out. In my insane world, it makes perfect sense, but people are just like, oh my God, like fuck, that's fucking insane, and it's even like when we do the smash burgers and stuff as well. Originally we started doing the smash burgers because I was throwing away so much brisket trim. There's only so much. I was like, well, fuck, how do we like use this? And so what I started to do is taking all the fat, rendering that down, and that's what I use to fry fries with. And then all the meatier cuts, like that tip and like the undercarriage and stuff, that all goes into like the grind. And that's why and then I make my own buns because people are like, oh, you're so fancy, you're making the bun. Like, no, motherfucker, like I'm just broke. Like I can't afford potato buns. I'm a bag of King Arthur flour costs as much as like buying, like 40 burger buns. And I can get like almost 300 burger buns out of that sack of flour. So it's one of those things of.
And you're also able to, you have the knowledge that you can do that. Not everyone could do that.
Yeah. And like that, like I can control everything. I can control the yeast content. I can control what cheese goes in, what goes into the grind of the burger. It's very spiritual to me. It's very like connecting to food to me. It's very important, and to give food to people give people food that way is it's incredible.
So great. So now do you have a flat, like a griddle or a flat top, or were you cooking on top? Like, did you rent something to do that, or did you just have that, or did you build it? You put it on top of your car and heat your car up and have it run.
You would think that's the way we would do things. No, I actually bought a Camp Chef, and the first time we did smash burgers, they flew off the charts. And so but my Camp Chef's only I think like 2 feet by like 1 foot, and originally we had bought it to do like our tortillas and like our tacos and stuff when we did like Spanish menus, and then so we just started doing smash burgers. And I was doing a charity event with my buddy Jay from Barbacoa Boys, and I wasn't watching the menu, and neither was my wife. And so like the burgers kind of like flew off the handle. And so I ended up making like 125 burgers off this like little tiny fucking Camp Chef. It was brutal, man. We got it done, but I was like, fuck, I hated my life.
That's a lot. That's insane.
And originally I was like, okay, if I do the math in my head, I can get 20 burgers on, and like my dumbass is like, I could fit 20 burgers on the thing. It'll be okay. I just got to do like, like 6 turns and I'll be fine. Not realizing once you smash that burger, it takes up like 3 spots. It takes up more space. Dude, it was such a long day, but we got it done. Everyone was happy. The burgers were great. And like, that's the kind of shit people need to like, know about. As long as the customer's happy. That's what I learned at Hyatt. If the world's ending but as long as the customer doesn't realize it, you're perfectly fine.
Yeah, that's the best thing. So now, like, are you going to have like, how's your menu going forward? So this weekend, this interview is probably going to come out like right before your next pop-up. Like, how, like, is it just like, are there always going to be staples and then there'll be like 3 or 4 random Logan special crazy thing?
Yes. So the way I kind of run menus right now is there's always brisket, obviously, because that's like our money maker, and that's kind of like what's gotten us our popularity.
You're known for,
there's always brisket. There's always the dino bones, which are the plate ribs that are the beef ribs. The other thing that people saw and just like, what is that? Like, oh my God, that's fucking insane. I'm like, yeah, dude, it's just people have never seen here before.
No, of course. Yeah,
so like people unwrap that dino bone and they're just like, oh my God. Like, and people are always like, oh, well, why is it $30? Why is it $35? Blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, wait till you see it. And then people are just like, oh my God, I need like 5 of them next time. Dude, I sold like 36 of them for Super Bowl.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Dude, it was insane.
Well, and it's a special, it's a special thing to open up and eat, and it's so rich.
Yeah.
And it plays really well with everything. Yeah.
I tell people all the time that I will take a dino bone over brisket like 10 times out of 10. The dino bone to me is just like, that is like, not maybe the cusp of barbecue, but the first time I had one of those, I was just like, Oh my God. And especially after you wrap it and it's like circulating, it's basically like braising and
Yeah,
confit
yeah.
and its own fucking juices. It's just, it's, I mean, it's something so luxurious. It's insane.
And something like
And
that that's so
so,
thick that you could just like tear off bits with your hand. It's like, or with your fingers. Just
yeah.
yeah, it's so great.
And
Yeah,
then, and I love when people send us the pictures of them like holding it up to their mouth and like those like classic like dino pictures. Like, I
yeah. Or
love
it's
that
like
shit,
bigger than
man.
your
It's
face.
creating,
Yes.
yeah, and it's like creating experience and people are into it. And it's just
Hmm.
something that's not familiar
Yeah.
in Southern California. So we have the brisket, the dino bones, always ribs. I've switched it around a couple times. I've done rib tips, we've done baby back ribs, we've done the full big spare ribs, we've done St. Louis ribs. Right now, we're just doing the St. Louis ribs because that's been like more favorable to our clientele. Because when we were doing spare ribs, I would the rib tip off, chop that up, and I would save that for like walk up service, and then I would just serve ribs by the
Oh,
pound. And so we're bouncing back and forth between doing ribs by the pound and like ribs by the rack. And it's easier on our end to do them by the rack. So we sell them by the whole and people get stoked on them, you know,
yeah,
and we
yeah.
wrap them up real
That's
nice in foil and people get home and they open them up, they can pull them apart. So it's like part of the experience
hmm
too. And there's always a poultry dish. So whether that's turkey or a type of chicken, chicken drums, chicken wings, chicken, people need that
some
like
sort of
poultry
yeah.
dish on the menu.
Hmm.
And the turkey I've come to really enjoy because I started doing turkey breast during Thanksgiving, and I remember cutting into the turkey breast being like, "Oh shit, this is fucking good."
Yeah,
Like
it's
I was, this is, and I would buy the same turkey breast that we used to get at Hyatt, the foil wrapped, pretty like mid tier. We've moved on to like using better turkey now, but at the beginning I was like, wow, like if you just treat it right and do
mhm.
right by the product, it comes out fucking fantastic and
Amazing.
it's all
Yes.
crispy. Yeah, and in the beginning I was getting all fancy and after everything was wrapped up and pulled off, I was only cooking poultry and like keeping stuff warm in the cooker. So then I'd switch over to like maple, so it'd get all golden. And at that, I did it for Thanksgiving and Christmas, and it was awesome. But now I'm like, it's a lot of work, and
Yeah.
like with people helping and stuff, trying to tell them because I can look at the maple and the oak and I can tell the difference, but like not everyone can. So when I
Yeah, and
tell them like,
it's yeah.
hey, throw throw two sticks in the burner, they're like, okay, and it's like it's all mixed up. So we just do what it is. But this last week because of Super Bowl, we did the wings, and everyone was stoked on them. They're great. And usually we season them with like togarashi and a little bit more like Asian ingredients, so a
Well, that's
little bit more
cool.
like Asian flair. And the same
Explain
thing
what
with like
explain what togarashi is for people that might not know.
so togarashi is like a it's a Japanese chili flake that's used a lot in like ramen shops and in like sushi. It's a ingredient that I started learning about when I was doing sushi. And it's kind of one of those things that's just like translated to a lot of my different like food. So it's like it's just it's like a chili powder. It's
Hmm.
with like sesame and some other like nori and stuff in there.
Yeah.
So it's a really cool ingredient that I'm trying to like bring into barbecue, which
Yeah,
is
and you
like
can't find it everywhere. It's but if you do stumble across it, it's great to have in your pantry either.
yeah, Trader Joe's makes one that's okay, but like find a 99 ranch or find like a
Exactly.
and get the and it's ichimi. It's not the togarashi mashimi. It's the ichimi, which is the one that's
Okay.
supreme.
Okay.
Um,
Note, I'm noting
yeah, for everyone asking.
that.
And then our pork
Logan hates
ribs.
pants and he loves that brand. Like each of me.
Fuck pants, love the ichimi. But and then also with our ribs, we always do it in like a char siu style, which
Oh,
is like a Chinese version of roasted pork. And so I buy if there's a specific company out of Hawaii called Noh, and they make a char siu powder, which I cut with cracked black pepper, salt, paprika, onion powder, a lot more of those like classical barbecue flavors. But then I mix it with this Chinese seasoning, and that's
that's
what we
interesting.
season. Yeah, it's what we season our ribs with. So it's like it's trying to translate. Like, how do I explain it? It's
I
trying to
like that. No,
trans.
what it is essentially, it's Central Texas is like the base, is like the form, and then everything around. Like you're adding your. This is Logan. You're adding Logan
Yeah,
and yeah, your wife and everybody.
I
Yeah,
I tell people all the time. It's like it's we're doing barbecue with traditional Texas execution, but with more modern ingredients and style. If that makes sense. Like
that makes sense.
the execution is still the same. I will always spray my brisket down with apple cider vinegar. I'll always spray down, like I'll always wrap my brisket. I'll never use foil. I'll use butcher paper. Like there's a lot of things that I've just learned and I've stuck to from that true blue barbecue world, but then also flipping on its head and using Asian ingredients, Vietnamese ingredients, Indian ingredients, Venezuelan ingredients. Like for the longest time, I wasn't even serving barbecue sauce. I was serving just chimichurri, and it became too
That's
much.
that is yeah. Too
It's
much
just
to do,
because
or just too many like flavors like combating against each other? Or
never have too many flavors. No, I'm just
yeah,
kidding.
because I don't get, I don't because I couldn't. I did. It doesn't make sense to me, but
And in the beginning, I told people all the time, like, I don't like barbecue sauce. Like, I think all barbecue should be eaten with chimichurri because it's that spicy, it's that heat, it's that vinegar on the back of your palate because everything is so fatty.
Mhm.
I remember the first time I loaded up a piece of bread, like it was like a Hawaiian roll, and I put a piece of brisket on it, some raw onion, a pickle, and then like chimichurri, and I shoved it in my cousin's mouth, and he was like, "Oh my fucking god!" Like
Yeah,
I've
I'm sure
been
he's
doing
never
that,
had anything quite like
dude.
that
it,
ever.
it was just like his mind just like
Hmm.
imploded, and to see it on his face though was just like so amazing, and just like I was just like, fuck yeah, like this is what I'm here for, man. Like
Hmm.
this is the shit I'm trying to teach people. It's just like with the ramen. Like the ramen comes with like a little like reheating guide because we take the ramen, we chill it down, and then there's a QR code that they can scan that goes to our website and it tells them how to reheat the ramen. Because I don't want the egg overcooked. I don't want the tomato overcooked. I want to make sure the chashu is still chewy. Like there's just stuff in my mind that clinks back in the in
Yeah,
the.
you're.
In,
This is you're doing shit that no one else is doing.
I
Logan,
know, man. Thank you.
you're like you're speaking in a language that's like so awesome, but like we all understand it, but it's like this isn't happening very often, and this is happening in your fucking garage,
Yeah,
in your
dude.
house, in your house.
But don't tell nobody, okay? Just
Yeah,
keep out.
I
No,
mean it's happening at your commissary kitchen, which is
which I'm looking for. I
secret
swear to God, I'm
location.
looking
Yeah,
for it.
yeah.
No, but
Well, you're gonna have to. It's just it's just a
it's
matter of
it's
time.
it's the only way. Like I'm gonna go look at space tomorrow, and then I'm also looking at space on Monday because it has to happen. Like it's too big now. It's too.
And
I
if you want to go forward with this, you have to. You have
you
no
have
choice.
to,
Yeah,
yeah. And it's just like it's the same thing like looking for like a 750 or 1,000. Like
yeah.
it's a natural growth pattern because we can't we can't keep just chilling and sliding by. Like it needs to evolve. It needs to get bigger. Just like
Yeah.
from going from the 120 to the 500, it needed to get bigger. I need to do more orders.
So
So kind of
eventually,
like
you probably will be placing an order with one of the big guys or bigger guys, maybe, or building your own in your own backyard.
I'm I'm hoping that's what I'm kind of like
Yeah,
looking for. I've talked to like Eric from Fat Stack, SG Metalworks. There's a lot of cool
there's
cats
a
out
lot of
there
options
doing
out there. Yeah.
doing the damn thing, and they're just all super cool. But yeah, so like we were doing the damn thing from April to Christmas, and like on Halloween was the first week when I was like, man, we were taking home like $300, and I was just like, fuck, like and I knew it was gonna come, I knew it was gonna happen, and like my wife and I kind of blamed it on the holidays, like that Halloween cook took place on a Saturday, and we served ramen, and like ramen's usually like the big like hitter that people were like, and the sales weren't there, and the beginning of November kind of sucked. Thanksgiving came and went, great weekend, cooked a lot of food.
What were those conversations like with your wife? Were they like we might need to figure something else out, like, or one of us needs to get like a crappy job? So, like, what was like? Yeah, what was that like?
Well, like I'll rewind it just a little bit back to like August. We both got the call to come back to work.
Okay.
And Hyatt called me, Hula's called Anna, and they were like, hey, like we're looking for you guys to like come back. Obviously like the conversations were a little bit different. Hyatt actually threw a little bit more money at me than I was initially making. And I told him, like, look, like this is something, I don't know if I'm ever gonna get this chance again. I don't know if my wife and I are ever gonna get this chance again. If we fall on our face and this doesn't work, and if by the end of the year it's just not happening, you will be the first one I call. And
Yeah,
we left on very good terms with everybody,
that's
but
smart.
we really sat down and talked about it and just like, look, if we hit the new year, if 2021 comes around and we are just ass out and we are just not making money, this just isn't working, it's not fun anymore, it's a job, then we'll figure it out. And with our resumes and stuff, it wouldn't be hard to walk into LA or like San Diego and find,
For
a
sure.
kitchen job. I go back to being like a Sue, making, 50 grand a year. It's better than
Yeah,
making nothing.
exactly.
And so Halloween came around, Thanksgiving came and went. Thanksgiving was a great week because it's a holiday. Everyone wanted brisket and
Yeah.
turkey, which was awesome. The beginning of December kind of sucked. Christmas was great. Once again, brisket, turkey. That was the first time I did the ducks, which people like because it's like in Chinese culture, like that's a big thing for
Yeah,
like
it's
the
a
new year.
festive. Yeah,
Yeah, and so like and we served it with like homemade hoisin and scallion pancakes
of
and
course.
like yeah, we'll do it because it was just that was like the double-edged sword of like getting slower from like September into December. The less orders that we had, the fucking more wild I could get. you know what I mean? Like the
Yeah,
more I
yeah.
could
Get
like
more
really like
creative and yeah, just do
yeah, and
whatever.
like
Almost
and
who
just
cares?
really like
Yeah.
flex. And like there was weeks where we were doing like I said, like pastrami and like agua chile. Because there were just like I was up high one night and I was on YouTube and like those are things I saw. I was like, I want to fucking make that this week. That was cool. But then we make the agua chile with like pomegranate seeds and like cilantro blossoms instead of like cilantro and just like regular stuff.
Wow.
It's trying to augment it
Mhm.
and heighten it to a level that like people haven't seen before or have never really like thought about before,
Mhm.
And so in the middle of December, Farley Elliott, my man, reached out to me on Instagram. And I was a pretty heavy smoker at the time. And I was outside having a cigarette. And I was really kind of just like, we just got done cooking. And I was just like, fuck, like, dude, like, is this gonna like work? Like, this is what we're gonna do. And so I just seen Avi Q's article come out from Farley. And it was a
Mhm.
beautiful article
Yeah,
and
it's a
really
great
like
one.
highlight a lot. And I came back in and like I told him, I was like, this is. I probably had a couple cocktails. I was like, this is the publicity we need. Like we need to start reaching out to people. We need to start talking. Avi Q's photo shoot was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
But like, I shit you not, the next time I wanted to have a cigarette, Farley was in my DMs and he's like, hey, really like your shit. Let me know if you want to talk. And I was like, you bet your ass I want to talk.
Holy hell,
Like, dude,
that crazy.
it was like the universe like
That's
meld.
how things happen. At least I
Dude,
think.
it
Yeah.
was so wild. It was so, and it was funny too because like I read it when I was smoking, and I was like, I don't even know if I should tell my wife yet because she's gonna think like I'm up to something. Like she's gonna think this is like a fucking setup. And so talked to him. He came out probably like 2 weeks later to just kind of like see and like get a feel of like like our operation, what we were doing. And it was one of the weeks where we were like, because I knew he was coming. I built like a wicked menu. I was doing like beef cheek bosom that had like four different sides on it. We did just out there wild shit, because I really wanted to impress him. I really kind of wanted to like flex my nuts. And so he came out, and the first thing we did when I was like, "Hey, do you want a beer?" He's like, "Yeah, I do." And I was like, and he was just, dude, he was just there in the corner and just like literally standing up against our washer and dryer, just like watching the operation go on. And so he left. Everything was great. He was cool and stuff, and we didn't hear from him for like 2 or 3 weeks. And I originally told Anna too, I'm like, look, it's one of two things is gonna happen. He's gonna come back and be like, yo, like I'm about this, like this is cool, or like we're just never gonna hear from him again. And like we really thought it was just like a one hit. So we were really like questioning what our next steps were. And then so finally he hit us up and was like, yo, like I want to come out, we want to do an article. And like I thought it was just gonna be like one of those like the best thing that like we ate this week.
Or the best
And
10
because
things in the valley or something like that's something.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Which is
And I
awesome,
thought,
but yeah.
oh, absolutely. And so like we had done like the spam musubi, which is really cool. And like we
So
grind all
how
our
do you do that? Are you making your own spam or using
yeah.
brisket or okay.
No, so I do it a 50-50 or like a 50, like it's 75-25 cut. I put 25% brisket fat into the spam, but then I'm also using pork butt as well.
Okay.
And so it creates, the last time I did it, it came out a little dry. So I'm going to lessen up on the brisket, but it's also a way to get rid of, product and like
Mm-hmm.
use it to a specific thing. But I grind it all in house. I mix it in my stand-up mixer and I emulsify it with togarashi, scallion.
Sounds so
Dude, just like brown sugar, shoyu, just a hodgepodge of stuff. Cause like I grew up eating spam and I love
yeah,
spam.
same
And
with
I know a
same
lot,
with me.
and I know a lot of people don't, and a lot of people are kind of like weirded out by
Yeah,
luncheon
I don't.
meat.
Yeah, it's a really weird. There's a world that knows about it and really loves it, and there's like
Yeah,
everyone that's
I
like it's the evil. Yeah,
I tell
canned
people,
meat.
yeah, I tell people all the time, like, look, it's literally like Hawaiian pork meatloaf. Like,
Mhm.
it's not gonna kill you.
Yeah,
Sure, there's hella MSG in it, but
yeah,
you're
it's a
gonna
little
be fine.
salty. I would think like
Yeah,
my ears ring a little bit after, but it's like a good feeling because it's.
but creating that dish and doing spam musubi to me was just like such a callback to like my childhood and eating spam, being like a poor family out of the valley, not having a lot of fucking money. Like spam to me was awesome. And
Mhm.
you'd fry that shit to a crisp and you
Oh
put it
yeah,
over rice with an egg and it was fucking killer,
yeah. I would also
And
grill
then
tomatoes and have that with that. It was yeah,
my man, dude, the grilled tomatoes are where it's at.
yeah,
Dude, tomato and raw onion on everything is where it's at.
definitely.
But so we started doing that, and the first time we put it on the menu, my wife was like, "Honey, I don't know if that's gonna work." And honestly, too, the only reason I put it on the menu because I saw the dude from Blood Brothers, uh, in Texas. Him and I
Lee?
talk on it. Yeah, him and I talk on Instagram just like, and I told him to, I'm like, look, the only reason I put it on my menu is because you put it on your menu. And I was like, if this dude in Texas can do it,
Yeah,
then fucking
and
so
those
can I in
guys
Simi
are
Valley.
awesome. Like they're
And they're doing weird
so
shit too.
creative. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, dude, if these and like there's some big names in my mind that like stand out to me, and it's like Matt Horn. I'm a huge fan of because he's just a fucking badass. Like
Yeah.
Bert and I have become like somewhat good friends. Like I talked to Danny, I talked to Andrew from Moose, that guy from Blood Brothers, but like these guys in Houston from Koi Barbecue. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
You know, I've
D-
gone, like, we've tried to do an interview like for 2 years,
Dude,
like just because timing wise. Yeah, those. Yeah, he's doing some amazing stuff. The
I
brand.
look at his I look at his Instagram and like I'm super hyped on like the exposure we've gotten and everything. But if there was an inspiration, Koi is it.
Okay.
Their
Oh, interesting.
flavors, what they do, how far they stretch, how they mix Vietnamese culture and food into Texas barbecue. Like I just sit there and I look at their Instagram, just like these guys are fucking like he is doing it. Like he is about it. He doesn't give a fuck what people think about his ingredients or what he's doing. I was like, that's who I want to be like. That's the guy I'm fucking like looking up to. I'll always
Nice.
look up to Matt Horn. I'll always look up to like Burt Packman. I'll always look up to Danny and Andrew. But like, dude, Dan went from Koi Barbecue. I'm like, that dude is a god to me. Like that dude is just like doing the damn thing. And my
Well,
wife last year actually tried to set me up with a stage with them in Texas, but because of COVID, it never worked out. She was gonna surprise me, and I was gonna go work with them for a weekend. And I was just like, fuck, dude. But like those guys, like he just inspires me so much for my
well,
food.
and he does some like collabs with like Brian at Bodacious Barbecue. Like he
Yeah,
does.
yeah,
Yeah.
dude. Brian and I like when I started
Brian's
making
one of the
sausage,
nicest humans.
dude. When I started doing sausage, Brian was the guy who was just like, "Hey,
Yeah, yeah,
bro, your sausage looks fucking killer. What do I do? Like, how do I do it?" And he gave me so much information. Like, the barbecue guys are so fucking cool. I could sit here for another hour talking
yeah.
about the
So could
barbecue
I.
guys,
I've been. That's why. The reason why I'm doing this, and you're now one of those people. Like it's. Yeah, this is. Yeah, it's a great world, and it's people
dude. And
helping
it's
people. Like, what does it hurt to help somebody in these?
yeah. And coming from a background of fine dining, when I came from a culture where people were turning up your burners and dropping, like agar into like your soups and stuff to like fuck with you. Like it was weird being able to talk to these guys like human beings, and
It's a
like
different. Yeah, it's
it was weird. And now that we have like more recognition and stuff and people like know who we are, it's weird that these guys are like even like Bert, like who just reaches out to just like ask how I'm doing because he knows I'm just fucking
that's cool.
slammed
That's
because he was there 3 years ago.
You
I
should have
mean
seen like
Daniel,
his like he would get DMs, like his orders were all like via Instagram, and so I'd come and he'd have it like like torn little bits of paper with their names and how many pounds, like all over it. He'd be like some people would come and he'd be like, yeah, that's your. Like, it was like, and I'm like,
dude,
what? I'm like,
I
this
can
is
all
ragtag Berg. How do you do it? Like, how do you? Yeah, it's crazy.
and it's funny too because like my wife and I is like experience ours is a lot more dialed in, and I think like when Farley came through, I mean he was really impressed by
You
like
probably saw
because
that.
we run it like a fine dining kitchen. Like we like the whole day we're drinking beers, we're having fun, we're having a good time, we're bullshitting. But the moment 4 o'clock hits and I start slicing brisket and we start serving, we turn off the music, everything goes quiet. People like my wife calls the
Uh,
ticket. I need a pound of brisket, 2 pounds pork, one rack of ribs. Everyone heard. And like if you don't say heard, she will be like, hey, like make sure you get that shit. And
nice.
it's turned into a lean, mean fighting machine. And when I think it was kind of like jarring to Farley and Frank, the photographer, because when they came and worked, like it was literally like the other side of a coin. Because like 4 o'clock hit, and I was like, no, this is business time. Like we can fuck around at 5 p.m. and we can fuck around at 3:59, but
That's
4 o'clock to
that's
five,
awesome. That's really
that is
interesting.
we are dialed in. Like my cousin and my buddy Chuba are running the cars. Enrique and my wife are packing bags. I'm slicing brisket, building boxes, and we're just flowing. And we used to kind of fuck up and like we would miss things here and there. We very rarely miss orders now because we are just dialed in. And I also know the fact that we have a not a bullseye, but like we're in the limelight. Like, we want people to have a good time. We want people to get their food. We want things to be dialed in. I don't want people showing up and thinking that this is, just like, I mean, it is a hodgepodge, but my wife and I have a professionalism that we try to adhere to, and we
Yeah,
want people to know that. I
you
get
want
it's
them
out
to
of the
come
garage.
back.
Yeah, and I get it's out of the garage. I get I wear short shorts and a tank top. I get that like my cousin's a fucking ogre and and like my daughter's running around and talking to cars. But at the same time, we're a very professional couple and we're a very professional business. And we're trying to translate that and get that more out there because now with the recognition that we have, we want to be taken seriously. We want
Yeah,
to be held to those
this is
standards
that
because
moment right here. Yeah.
yeah, and we have those standards. So it's like, well, what's next? What are we going to do next? And it's like, it's finding the commissary space, getting a bigger kitchen, maybe finding, I mean, if you would have asked us before Eater, I would have told you to go piss up a rope if you want to talk to me about a brick and mortar. But now it's like, dude, if we have a brick and mortar and cook barbecue 4 days a week and
Yeah.
do fine dining one night a week, that'd be fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And have like a Friday night sit down dinner. But you know what? Monday to Thursday, you can get barbecue and all different types of barbecue from, noon to 8 p.m. That's the kind of shit like,
That's an interesting model. And would this still be in Simi Valley?
bro, fuck, man, I don't want it to be. Like, honestly, like, I feel like Simi Valley is just like a death trap for restaurants. But LA is right
But
there.
maybe what you're bringing to the table is what Simi Valley needs. The places that do really well isn't the Hat. The Hat does
I
decent,
fucking love the Hat.
makes sense.
I love the Hat.
Yeah, people should go to that. I used to only go to the ones like way out in for wherever it was, like off
Dude,
the 10 or whatever. But now, yeah, like when I found that out, like maybe 8 years ago, 10 years ago, I'm like, wow.
dude, the Hat is like my childhood
It's
like
for
obsession.
people that don't know, it's a pastrami dip. Well, you can go to other, but it's like that's what I get, pastrami
Dude,
dip.
that's the only thing I get, and
Yeah,
I'll eat like two of them and then hate my
yeah.
life for 2 days. But it's so worth it. I love the
And
Hat.
if you get chili cheese fries, it's like it's as big as
It's
your car. Like it's so giant.
dude, that's so funny because that's what I tell people all the time. I'm like, look, the chili cheese fries is for like a table of 8.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
I
it's
got
like
it. And the
you
guy's
can't
like looking at me. He's like,
you can't just
you're
put,
by
dude. It
yourself. I'm
comes
like, yeah,
it comes in a 4 cup like
yeah.
fucking like
It's huge.
holder. It's
It's crazy.
insane, but
It's weird. Yeah.
it's like that and like Lim's barbecue and stuff that makes me really like hark back to like what food should be and how it should be translated. There's a time and place for fine dining, and there's a time and place for tweezers and foams and microgreens all the time. But there's also a time for like just really well done food, and that's what we're trying to like put out here at ZEF BBQ. Like that's what we're really trying to give to people. And it doesn't matter if it's the burgers or the sandwiches or the barbecue, the Peking duck, the spam, the pho, the raw, whatever it is. Like we just want people to eat well and to know that there's more to barbecue and there's more to the culinary world than just brisket, just ribs,
Yeah.
just pulled pork. And that's why like
Just ribs at Chili's or something. It's
yeah,
like
that come vacuum sealed from the vast company
yeah.
that are all
Mhm.
frozen, and I can't even fucking imagine. But that's also too like when we write menus, every weird dish that we put on, it went from like doing descriptor to doing like the history behind it.
That's
So
cool.
when we
That's
do
just,
so when we do Peking duck or we do agua chile or we do birria or we do, instead of putting like a descriptor behind it, because anyone can Google it. If you can't Google it, then fuck you. Like I don't have time for your shit. But if you want to know where it came from, the part of Mexico who created it, and it's us giving lineage in the age of gentrification and overpopulation and just like muddling and watering down so many foods and so many cultures. I want people to know where the duck originated from, why they cooked it in Hearst in 1625 in the Ying Dynasty. I want people to know that spam is super special to me to the point where like I researched it back to like where it came from. The fried rice, the pho, like it's shit like that that's just like super important to us, especially in a place like Simi Valley with the demographic we have
Mhm.
that don't have a lot of access and don't really go out very far for food and ethnic food. And so that's like our way of giving back, not just to us, but to like the community as well.
Yeah, you're giving
If
them the why that they need.
yeah,
That's yeah. And I think
like
people crave that. And I'm like, obviously, people are appreciating it, right?
this, and it's funny too because now that we're a little bit more popular and we're like bridging over into LA and stuff, people get it a lot more and people understand it a lot more, which
Yeah.
is so cool and so awesome. Where the folks in Simi Valley will always order the brisket and the ribs, and God bless them, and I fucking love them, and it's what keeps us afloat. But the weird shit, I mean, I'll never forget when I put the beef cheek on the menu, and people were like, "The beef what?" I'm like, yeah, it's out of the fucking face, bro. Get with it or get out. I was like, if Andrew can do it at Moosecraft, then why can't I?
Yeah,
so it's just
exactly.
like, so it's just like it's crazy.
Why
But
is it ZEF?
oh, so ZEF. Okay, so I love when people ask this because it like kind of it's not that I put a lot of thought into it, but it would kind of just like happen when I was doing barbecue in Chicago, and it kind of was like my Instagram name already. So ZEF comes from a post-apartheid term coming out of South Africa. I don't know if you're familiar with Die Antwoord, the music group and stuff,
That
but
sounds familiar.
they're hella weird. They're fucking out there. They're so strange. But ZEF is like a hip hop term coined out of South Africa post apartheid.
Okay.
When shit was still weird, when fucking like people were still being racist. And if you do like if you look into the history of apartheid in South Africa, it's extremely one disturbing, but just wild. I mean, we had it bad over here. We still have it bad over here, but it was extremely rampant in South Africa. And so ZEF was a term that came from a 19, I think it was like a 1979 Zephyr, which is a car in South Africa,
Oh,
which
interesting.
people would buy and soup up. But they were still living in caravan parks. They were still in poverty, but they would spend all this money on this car. So ZEF turned into a term that was used for saying like, I can wear chains and like mink coats and have a souped up car and wear like have a fucking grill in my face, but I still live in in the trailer park. So to me, it means ZEF means you can do whatever the fuck you want. Like you can act how you want, be who you want, as long as you're authentic and who you are. And that's what I try to translate into our food.
I
Where
love that. I love that so much.
yeah,
Now
and
it
it's
now
funny
it makes so much sense.
because there's been a couple people just like ZEF, like Diane Ward. I'm like, yes, ZEF, like Diane Ward. And they're just like, oh my God, I'm like, fuck yeah, but it's been like maybe like half a dozen times. But ZEF barbecue is just something that stemmed out of just it going from like doing that traditional Texas barbecue to just like I said, like I would wake up and I want like I'm gonna do pastrami and agua chili this week. Fuck it. Like just
Yeah.
literally just whatever food we want to do. And I feel like Farley caught it pretty well in the article because he was like, it's a do what we want establishment because
Yeah.
it is do what we want. Like I would like what is the bare bones definition of like a fine dining Michelin star restaurant? You wake up, you go to the farmer's market, you find what's fresh, you find what's available, you bring it back to the restaurant and you cook a menu that night. There's no set menu. You're not telling, you're literally showing up to see what the chef wants to cook.
Hmm.
And so with me, with my barbecue, that's what I want to do. I want to cook because I love it. I enjoy it. I'm passionate about it. I would fucking die for this industry and I would die for this, like, this passion of mine. And I just really hope people can appreciate it. But that's also like going back to why we put the history and why we do what we do and why we're still selling brisket and dino bones, but we're doing Peking duck and spam musubi as well because it's what I want to do. It's what my wife and I want to eat. It's what we want to serve to people. And it's what we want people to eat
And
and
it's
experience.
it's authentic. Like you wouldn't be you. You wouldn't be. You'd feel disingenuous if you were
I
serving
should,
just.
I make the joke all the time because like when I was on that train ride back home from Monterey down here, and my wife and I were talking, and I told her I was like, it's not like I can show up in Simi Valley and try to sell a 14-course wine pairing menu for $400 a head and make money. What are we gonna do? We're gonna fucking
Yeah.
make barbecue because what do people want? Brisket, ribs, chicken, fucking
And it's
pulled pork.
comfort. It's people still like they
It's
need
hella
comfort. They
comfort.
need like they'll always need
Absolutely.
comfort, but especially now they need it so badly.
Especially now. And that's why it hits so hard. And like my wife and I talk about it all the time. When people come up and order food, and when people come to pick up food, yeah, it's a 2 second, 5 second, 10 second interaction, right? They get in line, they get up, we bring out these big bags, fill fucking barbecue, we hand them off. But then like my wife and I are out there, hey, thank you, we love you, we fucking appreciate you. Like my buddy Chubba, my cousin Jake, like they're my family, like my father, my kid's godfather is part of like our crew. Like these are our people, these are our community, especially right now when you can't have a big community.
Hmm.
And so having them here and having those experiences with guests is just so fantastic and so amazing. It's the reason why we do it, and it's become a
Yeah.
point to like where people don't really tip us anymore in money. They just bring us beer because I made a post like a couple weeks ago just about like how like the tips are great, keep bringing beer. And dude, like this last weekend, dude, we pulled home like 80 beers,
That's awesome. That's
and dude, people are bringing me joints, people are bringing me like growlers, and I'm just like, I was like, this is what
that's
I've been
love.
looking
That's
for.
love. That's
Yeah, man.
that's the end of the rainbow
That's
kind of stuff.
that's Zeph. That's
Yeah.
fucking
That's
Zeph.
Zeph. That is Zeph.
you
So let's
know?
before we end this, and we could talk, for another
Dude,
hour,
I could
and I think we should do a part three. But as things go on, but what are all
yeah.
the different ways people can get a hold of you, and how do they order, and what's all that
So
stuff?
right now, we are located in Simi Valley. We do all of our pickups here in Simi. We're currently looking at LA. We're currently looking at the Valley. We're looking at Ventura, just depending on what goes on the next couple of weeks. You can find us at ZEF_Hawaiian on Instagram, ZEF underscore HAWAIIAN. I
Yes,
nailed
man.
that.
I think you nailed it. Yeah, yeah. I was like thinking in my head, I'm like,
And
that's
we still have like 300 business cards that we're trying to get rid of. After that, it'll be turned into ZEF Barbecue. It's just we have business cards we gotta get rid
yeah.
of.
But if you start typing
Um,
Zeph, generally it'll come
it
up,
pops
and
up
yeah,
because there's not a lot of ZEF out there, which
no,
is
there's
awesome.
not. Yeah.
And you can also find us at www.zefbarbecue.com. All of our orders are through there. We don't take DM orders. We don't take call-in orders. our menus typically get posted Tuesday mornings, Monday nightish, depending on the week.
Okay.
Pre-orders go live on the website only at 10 a.m. on Wednesday mornings for the
Okay.
following Saturday pickup. The last couple weekends we've done Sundays just because it works better for us because we've been trying to work with like a couple breweries and a couple different bars. Super Bowl obviously was on Sunday, so we had to do it Sunday, but normally, typically Saturdays, 3 to 5 p.m. pickup.
Okay. And they could and when those slots sell out, they just choose a specific time.
Yeah. So we do it in 10-minute increments, and we take about 15 people per increment. And so we've been going a little bit harder about trying to like get more people into the ordering system because everyone wants it right now. So we've kind of had to like double back on not doing like the crazy stuff, and especially like for Super Bowl, no one wanted ramen for Super Bowl, you know.
No, it's not.
But this next week, or probably after this podcast, we're going to be doing a Lunar New Year menu because Chinese New Year, Lunar New Year is this weekend, but we're taking this weekend off for my wife's birthday. So next weekend, and then I think we're also going to try to do smash burgers in the same week to try to get as many people the love that is ZEF.
Yeah.
Right
Are people ordering by the pound for the brisket, or is it like half pound, full pound, like that kind?
So we set up for our brisket. We do we were doing quarter pound for a while, and I like it was more of a moneymaker, and it kind of hurt my soul. So we just do half pound. We do full pound. We do sell whole briskets, which I mean we've had a couple of people grab from here and there. We try to keep it as Texas as possible, and we sell all of our meats by the pound unless they're like specialty items.
Yeah.
And we do things like the ramen, the pho, the ducks. We sell them by the each, and those are priced out specifically.
And the burger
sometimes
too, right?
Yeah, the burgers are cool too because we just let people go fucking wild. There's no minimum on the burgers. There is a $50 minimum on the barbecue just to make it like worth our time. And I don't want someone logging on and just ordering a pint of pickles. Everything we do is homemade, from our bread to our pickles to our barbecue sauce to literally everything. Like fuck dude, like I render the fat out of the brisket trim to make like fry oil. So it's like everything and anything is
great.
I mean, I was trying to make vinaigrettes out of brisket fat for a while, and I just couldn't. It was too much for like a salad or something. So you can find us at all those. We're on Facebook, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm not very active on Facebook because that's a fucking cesspit. And
you're not on Twitter, right?
No Twitter. I feel like we should, just to like keep people updated. Like I want to take a page out of like Danny's book because it just keeps people informed. Yeah. And it's just that quick, kind of banger. But yeah, the biggest thing is the Instagram, is the ZEF.
Yeah, then that works.
Wine. Yeah, that's like our go-to. I try to be really responsive with folks and fans and customers. I'm pretty raw on there. There's really no like there's no dumbing it down, or
I think you were pretty raw in this interview too. So it's I think if they're expecting something different than what you were in this, they're going to the wrong. They should go to somewhere else.
Yeah, and I tell people all the time, I spent like I've said multiple times in this interview, like I've spent over a decade getting a crispy white coat on every morning, wrapping my apron all tight, making sure my bun didn't have any hairs, my beard was trimmed, like my earrings were out, and now it's like, dude, I don't give a fuck. Like this is what it is. This is what ZEF is. This is what ZEF BBQ is. Yeah, and once we got, once after we picked up a lot more activity after the Eater article, and people would get pissed that they weren't making it in, I'm like, look, like I'm not going to dumb down my quality for quantity. If you can't get with it, there's literally millions, if not thousands, if not millions of restaurants out here that would love your fucking business.
Yeah, they need your business. Yeah.
Go out and order some to go. Go out and order, buy a gift card, buy a t-shirt, because like we are serving as many people as we can, but there's so many more restaurants that deserve your patronage and your money.
Yes, definitely. That's a great way to end this. And also too, you had merch, right? Like
yeah, so
it's all sold out, right?
We have hats. Yeah, we have hats. I had to look back there in the corner. We have hats. But right now, my buddy, the one that I told you about, Enrique, we're working on a new, like, I guess it's like ZEF BBQ 3.0 line of clothing. I don't fucking, dude, it's so weird talking about that shit. But like, dude, the first 2 t-shirts were super dope. We're trying to restock the merch site right now. I'm actually working with a couple other people. One specifically, our buddies Beat Down Barbecue out in LA. If you haven't heard of them, they're super cool. About getting a spice line going. We're going to try to get like a barbecue sauce line going. So it's just like stuff that we can send because we've traveled so much. There's people in Chicago and people in Kentucky and people in Ohio and Key West and all these places that want to support us and can't. So those are going to come out soon too.
Well, let me know when those things come out. I'll help you promote those because that's I want to
Hell
get
yeah,
the
man.
word out. Yeah, yeah, no, it's
I
and
appreciate that. And it's one of those things I never thought I'd get to, but now that it's here
yeah,
and like now people are asking like if I can do like private classes with them. And dude, the Eat article is just fucking like blowing my mind because I'm just like this kid in a garage who's much younger than all the other like barbecue heads in LA, who's just like, yo, like, dude, I'm just trying to fucking cook, man.
yeah, but
You know, it's just and
you have a lot of experience. You have a lot of experience.
yeah, yeah, dude. And it's just like another thing that people don't get is like it's just me. You know, like I when cook days come and go, like I wake up on 6 a.m. Fridays and I don't go to sleep until, you know, Saturday nights because I'm cooking overnight. Like I'm rotating product out throughout, like I'm pulling briskets off and putting ribs on. So like I said, like 750 really needs to come soon. But
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
I don't know
Yeah.
if we're hiring anytime soon, but there's definitely a lot of people that have been asking and stuff. And hopefully we have our LLC. We're getting more legit day by day. My wife is working fucking tirelessly to get us there, and I'm super appreciative of her, and that's why we're taking this weekend off. And it's a fucking passion
Uh,
project that's turned into a
I love this.
conglomerate.